Ciao Ciao Dosto. Here we are after a very great night for Italian football in general, and that is why we have someone back with us on the podcast. Param, welcome first of all. What a time to make a comeback. First of all, Param, before we delve into that, एक smile तो बहुत बड़ा है. First of all, welcome you. I'm welcoming you because I think it's been almost 3-4 streams से you've been missing.
Yeah.
एंड ये प्लान था परम कि वापस एंट्री मारेंगे तो सबको जवाब देके ही मारेंगे. फर्स्ट ऑल परम, जस्ट ओवरऑल मैन, I'm not talking to you as a panelist or just
Yeah.
as a pure fan. To see a result like that yesterday, I just, the floor is yours. How did it feel? Forget the stats, tactics, but
Yeah.
एक कैसा feeling था यार?
मजा आ गया फॉर श्योर. ऑब्वियसली फर्स्ट थिंग्स फर्स्ट, तो मैं एक तो बोलूंगा कि फर्स्ट मतलब ग्लैड टू प्रॉपरली सॉर्ट ऑफ बी बैक ऑन द पॉडकास्ट. आई नो आई वाज देयर ऑन द लास्ट स्ट्रीम, बट जनरली थोड़ा बैक इन अ कंसेक्यूटिव फ्लो. ग्लैड टू बी बैक, ग्लैड टू सी यू, बिकॉज आपसे तो आपके साथ तो स्ट्रीम में बहुत टाइम से नहीं था. आई नो ऑल ऑफ अस आर
Yes,
बिजी
yes.
लाइक दैट, बट नो, जनरली गोइंग बैक टू द गेम, वेरी हैप्पी. जस्ट आई बिफोर वी ब्रेक इट डाउन एंड एवरीथिंग, मैं कुछ ज्यादा बोल ही नहीं सकता. आई एम जस्ट हैप्पी बिकॉज we all know Bayern, despite their injuries and everything, we all have spoken about it. It's not easy to play them. I know they have their flaws, they have their injuries, but that insane home record, 22 games unbeaten, for 4 years in the Champions League now. Uh, that is not easy to play against. और एक point पे लगा था, obviously result गया हाथ से, obviously when they scored the equalizer, but how Inter quickly responded to that, with the counter when the opportunity presented itself, which we will get into. I was very happy with the mentality. Obviously, मैं पहली चीज बोलना चाहूंगा, obviously this is far from over and everything. So we are celebrating the win, but obviously as the players said after the game, bhai, they're very happy with the win, but obviously the job is not done. There's a whole 90 minutes left to play. I'm glad the players are already acknowledging that, because जब तक आप next round में पहुंचते नहीं हो, there is no real reason to celebrate. But just solely looking at yesterday's game, मतलब I'm just proud of this team. I'll tell you what, Chintan, मैं happy तो एक चीज, but I think you and me have discussed this, and in our inter community बहुत discussion चलता है कि हम तीन फ्रंट पे फाइट कर रहे हैं, and we just wonder how long, because injury सबको होती है. Look, we discussed this. It happens to AC Milan, it happens to Bayern, it happens to every club. It's also happening to us, and we are playing with a lot of fitness issues, as in which you don't hear of in the news. Kal Simone Inzaghi ne bola after half time, Acerbi was getting treatment, on the stretcher and everything, but yet he continued
Yeah.
and finished the game. Darby and same, he was facing some issues. So, I'm just kind of grateful that this team is, as a collective, fighting on all fronts without any problems, giving it their best. You can't expect a perfect display week in, week out with that, like every 3 days and all. I know I'll get that comment कि मैं भाई बार बार वही 3 दिन की चीज बोलते रहो, but it really takes a toll. So my point of all this is, I'm just proud of the team कि जो efforts डाल रहे, it's paying off so far. And मैं कल जब हमने impromptu live stream किया था इनऑर्बिट मॉल के बाहर से अजय कोस्तों के साथ, मैं वही
Yes,
बोल रहा
yes,
था कि
yes.
yeah, I just hope this effort results in something at the end of the day. It gets us a trophy or two, at least 2 trophies, and hopefully the Scudetto and the Champions League preferably. I mean, obviously there's a long way to go. I don't want to get that ahead, but just as you said, very happy with yesterday's result, and that makes you believe. These things make you believe कि हाँ कर सकते हैं भाई, कुछ special कर सकते हैं. But with that being said, one game at a time. Yeah. But yeah, so
Yeah.
that's my early thoughts. But हाँ, बोलो. Sorry.
My point is, first of all, let's talk about a little bit about Bayern as
Yeah.
a team, as a club. I always feel one thing, Param, as a club, Bayern also does not get its fair share of due, because historic club, Param, it's a massive club. People talk about the Real Madrids, the Barcelonas,
Yeah.
just like the Serie A teams who don't get the spotlight. Bayern is also one of that club, and of course,
Yeah.
as you said, Param, before when you started your monologue, that look at their unbeaten run. It
Yeah.
goes underappreciated. So first
Yeah.
time, and anyways, जैसे draw बना था, when the draw was declared, it was of course declared as a great clash, between two teams who haven't been spoken about a lot. So when you, of course, सब लोग बाद में एक ऐसा agenda हो गया है परम, because इंटर को पहले appreciate नहीं करते थे. बाद में now, of course, they started doing this a lot. So then
Yeah.
they started undermining a team like Bayern, and of course, you
That's
cannot undermine.
crazy. Yeah,
Exactly,
that's
I very
crazy.
very disrespectful also, Param, because we
Yeah.
know how disrespectful we feel when they undermine our team. So
Yeah.
मेरे को एक ही चीज जानना है, परम, when the ties were made, out of all the possible ties, no disrespect to any club like a Villa or a
Hmm.
Dot and all.
Hmm. Hmm.
Were you happy with this when the tie was made? Because एक चीज पर मैं बताना चाहता हूँ, जैसे सब लोग बोल रहे हैं, we had this discussion on the group जो सबको पता नहीं है. Simone Inzaghi बोल सकते हैं except that final run. Of course, the you play the team in front of you. I never understand परम public क्यों ऐसा बोलती है.
Yeah.
Bayern or Inter or whatever team had an easy route. अरे भाई जो सामने है वही खेलेंगे ना, थोड़ी नई टीम
Yeah,
के
वो
सामने.
अपने हाथ में नहीं है, राइट? जो है वो खेलोगे.
Exactly. Though, and you played Milan, and of course you know how sentimental the derby is, especially
Hmm.
uh, when it comes to derbies. You know how it is, and how this season is also panning out for how the derbies are panning out. So यार, except that final जो loss था, सब लोग ऐसा बोल रहे हैं कि Inzaghi hasn't been tested in the
Yeah,
Champions League yet. I know,
yeah,
Param, you've been going all out against that Benfica team, and I was very happy to see you praise Benfica because you come from the
yeah.
Porto side, I
it
come
was,
from the Ben,
it
and
was
I
very
know that
hard. Yeah,
that Benfica side was terrorizing. That was a
yeah,
very, like, people don't just because it is Benfica. पता है
yeah.
परम 10-12 साल पहले वो मालागा का टीम बना था, the historic
Ah,
that great team. So people
yeah,
forget
great
just
team.
because नाम small team का आ जाता है, so called
Hmm.
small team का. So
So
when this
good.
Bayern, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know, but did you also feel like that somewhere as an Inter fan, as a Simeone fan? I know you are a Simeone appreciator, so am I. लेकिन ऐसा लग रहा था कहीं कि ओके या शायद अनटेस्टेड था. So were you happy because you get to test yourselves against the big clubs, Param, and Bayern is probably one of the biggest clubs in the world.
Yeah. एक तो पहले तो मैं before I get into that, एक तो I'm glad so many people are commenting and watching. जैसे बैनर बोल रहा है, please like, share and subscribe. We will get to the
Yes,
comments.
yes,
Don't
yeah,
worry.
definitely, definitely.
Let me just answer Chintan भाई's question. So देखो, I mean, ये एक valid point. I think if Ravindra is there in the chats, we were having this discussion on the WhatsApp group. Ki, I think it is. I understand where people say at times कि हाँ test west नहीं हुआ, but the thing is you play what is in front of you. That's logical.
Exactly.
You can't do much about it. Now it's not like we haven't played great teams. The so-called again, जो great team है ये वो subjective होता है. But we played Man City, we've played Arsenal, we've played an informed crazy Benfica. I'm talking about the over the years and everything. I mean, we've played a Real Madrid, we've played a Barcelona. Obviously, not the greatest iteration of Barcelona when we beat them. I admit that. But खेल चुके हैं यार अलग-अलग teams को. Now, at the end of the day, as you said, you play what is in front of you, and we have. I think we've given a very good account of ourselves in these games. Sure, अगेन अग्री कि मे बी आप चीज बोल सकते हो कि कंसिस्टेंटली आप बोल सकते हो कि देखना है कि इंटर ऐसे टीम्स का अगेंस्ट कैसे कर सकती है, बट अगेन इट्स नॉट लाइक वी हैव टू गो आउट एंड ऐसा अरे हाँ प्रूफ करना ही है कि वी हैव अ पॉइंट टू प्रूव. द थिंग इज फॉर अस इट्स वेरी सिंपल. जो गेम आ रहा है उसको खेलो, उसको जीतो, फोकस ऑन ओवरसीइंग दैट टाई, देन गेट टू द नेक्स्ट राउंड. दैट्स हाउ यू प्रूव योरसेल्फ. फॉर अस proving ourselves is getting as deep as possible in the Champions League. That in
Yes,
itself
yes.
is more than enough. Like, my point being here is this is no disrespect to any other club. भाई जो ड्रॉ में मिल रहा है उसी को खेलोगे. और easy draws जो बोलते हैं, right, we put ourselves in a, and again even easy is a very subjective term, we put
Of
ourselves
course.
in a position to get a favorable draw in the knockouts with this new format. We finished fourth in the league phase. We finished fourth, we gave a good account of ourselves, and that's why we were rewarded for it. It's as
And
simple
Param,
as that.
let's not
Yeah,
forget you beat a team which beat Real Madrid in the other match. You beat Arsenal. You beat.
yeah,
You almost beat that City game was probably the most
yeah,
enthralling game for
yeah,
me in the group stage because you and
yeah.
that City decline में नहीं था. उसके
Yeah,
बाद
that's
शायद
it.
decline
It
आया
was
था.
just the beginning of the season, exactly. So,
Yeah.
भाई
So
मतलब I have like see मेरे को ये पॉइंट कभी like for me ना, मैं हमेशा बोलते रहा हूँ चैंपियंस लीग के बारे में. चैंपियंस लीग में जो भी चाहे वो टफ टीम मिले, सिंपल टीम मिले, जो भी रिलेटिवली मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता. दिस इज द चैंपियंस लीग, यू हैव टू प्ले द बेस्ट ऑफ द बेस्ट. चाहे मुझे राउंड ऑफ 16 में प्राइम रियल मैड्रिड मिले, चाहे मुझे पीक लिवरपूल मिले, इट्स फाइन. दे माइट you might not be as good as them on a given day, but this is why you play the Champions League. You get tested. So मुझे कोई problem नहीं है. It's as simple as you bring anyone on, and that's not out of arrogance. You have to play the best teams. Currently you are playing a Bayern Munich, even if they're ravaged by injuries. You went there, you won at the Allianz Arena. I was ready to get anybody, even if this was a normal draw system. Chalega. It is what it is. If we go through again, second leg is pending. If we go through, we know there's someone like a Barcelona that awaits us, and a Barca team that has been in the offensive phase. आप भी देख रहे हो, मस्त खेल रही है, right? So the point being, यार मैं इतना सोचता नहीं हूँ जब पर्सनली ड्रॉस बनते लाइक
Exactly. And
या
Param,
इतना
I just brought this up because it's a weird narrative, to be very honest. No
या
disrespect to anyone's opinion, but I feel you play what is in front of you. And as you said, you could have had a possible Juventus or
Juventus AC Milan.
Milan.
Exactly. तब लोग बोलते अरे हाँ AC Milan. Let's say if it was the technically it would have been the Derby della Madonnina क्योंकि
Yeah,
Feyenoord खेले right. And
yeah,
here I am sitting wondering कि भाई अगर Derby अरे बाप रे ये तो क्या हो गया. Special
yeah,
appearance
भाई चांद चांद किधर से आया है भाई? वो
स्पेशल
भी वो
अपीयरेंस
भी
में भी
वो,
हैक हो गया ये तो.
वो
सही
भी
है योगेश
चैंपियंस लीग योगेश एट अ चैंपियंस लीग नाइट. बट या सॉरी परम, आई कम टू योगेश, बट कंटिन्यू जो बोल रहा था
या
तो.
योगेश आते पर मैं पॉइंट इस चिंतन में देखो जब अगर डार्बी डेला माडोनी ना होता everyone would have said oh you know what AC Milan has had Inter's number this season and rightly so right और तब अगर इंटर स्ट्रगल करती तो वो लोग बोलते कुछ और नैरेटिव होता. So my point is all of this talk is mostly fickle. घट मुझे ऑनेस्टली इतना फर्क नहीं पड़ता है जो है सामने उसे खेलो उसको फोकस करो वन बाय वन हराने का और नेक्स्ट स्टेज पे आगे जाओ. इट्स एज सिंपल एज दैट फॉर मी ऑनेस्टली आई एम दैट ओल्ड स्कूल इन दिस व्हेन
Yeah,
इट
yeah,
कम्स टू
but same. I don't get that narrative because when you won the Champions League, you had a
या
tough route. That
या
2010 was a very tough route. Uh, that that was something else, of course. And
yeah.
when you went in the finals, also, of course, you got a Milan, you could have gotten a Spurs, of course,
Yeah,
you could have
yeah.
gotten a Napoli, and Napoli that
Napoli,
time was
Napoli उस टाइम पे
Napoli
तो
was
या
a terrorizing
exactly.
team, and so and you and सब लोग बोलते हैं, I just use this narrative even for other teams. लेकिन सिटी का कभी कभी बोल रहे हैं अरे यार बहुत इजी, रियल मैड्रिड का इजी रूट मिल गया. आई नेवर अंडर माई आई जस्ट बॉट दिस अप परम बिकॉज आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड दिस नैरेटिव. मैं
I
अगर
नहीं
मुझे
हाँ
दूसरा
बोलो
लेग है, जैसे हम लोग जैसे आर्सेनल, रियल मैड्रिड, पीएसजी, लिवरपूल होता उधर है, तभी सब लोग बोलते हैं अरे इंटर उधर होता तो ऐसा होता इधर. आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड दिस नैरेटिव. इट इज नॉट इन इंटर एंड इंटर थोड़ी ग्रुप बना रहा है. सो
exactly.
and before we, like, this is a very off topic, I just want to bring it up because I just wanted to bring in people's mind that यार you play what is right. इंटर को रियल मैड्रिड खेलना है, अरे भाई नहीं आ रहा है तो क्या करेंगे? Are you getting it? It's
और
not coming.
again let me remind you we've had those tough circumstances already. We've had to play Real Madrid early on and whatnot in the group stages struggling to get out of the group and whatnot. So ये सब situations already हो गए. So we've already been through it and we've already stood the test of time and whatnot. But before we continue the discussion, I think Yogesh freeze हो गया कि नहीं मुझे भी समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा exactly क्या
मैंने
चल रहा है.
चालू योगेश blink twice
Yeah,
if you are.
he's in between like freezing or isme. But before we come to Yogesh, let me take the comments. We have a lot of people in the house. Abhijay बोला public apology when, and he means it mostly for Frattesi, which is fair enough. एक चीज बोलना चाहूंगा. Obviously, see, as much as I criticize the guy as a player and our fan base does, obviously he's going through a tough time. He obviously we were seeing it in the news कि वो बार बार बोले जा रहा था कि it's a very tough period for me, and obviously that celebration you saw yesterday was more to do with a personal reason. Obviously, his grandmother passed away, and that celebration was out of that after he scored. You could see the emotion. He was almost in tears, and I can only give him credit for actually showing up in such a tough situation and scoring the winner at the Allianz Arena. So, kudos to him. And obviously, I'm glad the team was very supportive also of him. अब लेट आने का क्या नया बहाना है? कोई नहीं है भाई. Stand up Inter East says baseball. What a finish from Lautaro. Yeah, मतलब वो तो डिस्कस कर रहे मतलब दैट्स प्रॉपर
Yeah, yeah,
स्ट्रीट
yeah,
टॉट फुटबॉल जैसे कॉस्टो बोला था ट्रिवेला. इट्स
yeah,
जस्ट द टेक्निक यार लाइक
yeah,
I'll pull up the
amazing.
goal. I ट्विटर पे ढूंढ के रखा है when I pull it up is when we'll discuss it. I sorry wait what JFTV Luca posted another video said that this is another year where you and Milan fans will be hate watching on Inter. अरे ऐसा वो तो अलग राइवलरी तो है ही यार मतलब come on I do not expect a rival to support Inter. It's just not fair to do that. Click says hello. By the way, I know there are a lot of new people to the channel. So again, welcome to the channel. All I can say is we are trying to spread the word of Calcio in India and trying to do our bit for Calcio in general. So hopefully, if you like what we do, you like, share, and subscribe. Um, Also, big congratulations to undercover Tifosi from Mumbai, Chintan bhai. Robbie is here, your fellow Milanista, asking how you are. Uh, I think Chintan bhai कुछ बोल रहा है आपको. That's a question for you. I can't speak on your behalf. Do you want to answer him?
Yeah, why fine, all good man. It was uh, great. मेरे को तो ये चैंपियंस लीग गेम्स मजा आ रहा है, and everyone knows my Arsenal bias, so I was happy with that result also.
Yeah.
And I was happy with I मेरे को Inter Bayern was just a proper game for me, just as a
Mm-hmm.
neutral watch it. don't care who wins, who loses. वैसा गेम था. But Arsenal का
Hmm.
गेम very अच्छा. So overall good. Missing Milan over here, but other than that, वो तो कभी आने नहीं वाला. I think काफी time लगेगा. So let's enjoy whatever is in front of us.
Yeah. I for one always appreciate if Frattesi on the field, always his off-field antics mainly from his agent. Yeah, I mean वो तो अलग चीज है, but then again, yeah, it is what it is, you know. Yeah, ये सब banter चल ही रहा है. Never thought that the derby against AC Milan and Copa del is the least important match in Copa del is more like a distraction. Still, Napoli is very much. देख अभी thing is ना, the thing is the fact that we are playing a derby, nothing is less important right now because
Yeah, ego
you
पे
don't
ego
want
पे
to.
आएगा.
Yeah, you don't want to lose to AC Milan. 4 गेम से अभी जीते नहीं है. तो
Yeah.
वो एक अलग चीज. और नापोली इज देयर ओनली 3 पॉइंट्स बिहाइंड. हेक्टिक शेड्यूल है, आई नो. सो इट्स अ वेरी ट्रिकी सिचुएशन जो हम यही डिस्कस कर रहे थे, व्हिच वील आई थिंक टच अपॉन एज वी ब्रेक डाउन द गेम. केन शुड हैव स्कोर्ड दैट, बट इट्स फाइन, ही हैज फर्स्ट जीन्स. नो ही शुड हैव स्कोर्ड दैट. मैं तो मतलब मैं खुद एडमिट कर रहा हूं, आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड हाउ दैट वाज नॉट 1-0 in
That was a
overtime.
time. And seeing and Param seeing the goals he scored for Bayern,
Bayern,
terrific
yeah.
goals. Yeah, it's terrific. You know,
Seeing the goals he scored in his career, Chintan bhai,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that was a simple 1-0 to Bayern. I'll be very honest. My bias towards Frattesi comes from him as a person and honor of the. देख इतना भी खराब नहीं है वो. Every player in the world causes some problem at some point. It's a natural part of the game. It's not like he's suddenly a very trash human being or something. I know him and his agent caused issues, but right now when the person is going through a tough phase, I think we should not bring that up. Uh,
ये
uh,
इंटरनल बैंटर चलते रहता है.
ये चलते रहता है. I'm just going through every comment. I never play football regularly, so I'm poor on the ball when I play it, but I try my best to make it up through my off the ball and my heart and passion. अरे बाप रे, ये तो फ्रतेजी बन गया पूरा खुद का. Forza Nerazzurri says Victor the King, nice to have you यार, Victor. Mihir is also in this, another Milanista. इंटर वर्सेस बारसा विल ये जिंक्सिंग है, ये प्योर जिंक्सिंग है. मतलब
भाई
आर्सेनल इन द यूसीएल, आर्सेनल इन द यूसीएल फाइनल वुड आल्सो बी वेरी स्पाइसी. अभी जब मैं अभी सही बोलता हूं ना, ऐसा है तो
नहीं नहीं, बाय द वे
क्या.
तो बारसा तो एक भी लेग नहीं खेला यार. उसको खेलने मत
हाँ
दो बारसा
बारसा
को
ने
पहले.
वही बट वो
अभी
तो
क्या थोड़े कमेंट बाद में लेंगे. लेट्स मूव ऑन यार.
yeah, I'll just take a
योगेश आया
couple
है.
more. I'll just
ओह
take a
यो
couple more.
अजय इज ऑन द चैट.
Yeah, Ajay is there. We have Robbie saying God is here, omniscient one for Yogesh. Wait, we have Ajay. Yeah. Ciao Ciao boys on chat today. Good to see Yogesh and Volney are coming for second place. Yeah. Italiano ने already काम कर दिया थोड़ा, but obviously long way to go. But yeah, let's get back on track. Chintan, you can take over if you want to
Yeah.
ask about the game. We can discuss
योगेश
POV.
पहली बात तो यार, बिफोर आई ऑफ कोर्स आस्क परम, great result for Serie A in general, and a
Yeah,
team who does not lose at home. Yogesh, they don't lose at home. Bayern, you can call them European powerhouse, बोल सकते हैं. And you know, probably title clash. It's like a final. Bayern versus Inter, of course, finals हो चुके हैं. यार कैसा, your thoughts on the game, and were you two questions. Were you surprised by the result, or you know how good Inter play? Okay, this result was okay. Or my second, how was your, like, did you actually think? Can you actually think Inter? How far can they go further in this tournament?
yeah, it was a very good performance. Like Inter and the kind of goals they scored, right? Lautaro ka goal was like out of this world. Yeah, the build
Yeah,
up
yeah,
for it was amazing, and to defeat Bayern at their home with the unbeaten run that they are having, it's a huge statement. Yeah, it's a very huge statement. And Inter doing well in Champions League just shows that Serie A is not down and out as many people would like to believe and like to say that Serie A में क्या ही football होता है, right? तो
yeah, yeah,
Inter showing their standards in Europe is uh, they have set a benchmark, yeah, like for future Italian teams coming in. Even for Napoli, if we want to build a serious team, then we should all Italian clubs should take a page out of Inter's run this season, and the way they have been, like they have rotated the squad so much, like, and काफी hectic schedule Inter का भी. Like over the weekend they were leading 2-0 at halftime and then they went back. So even coming off from that and coming off in such a hectic schedule, Bayern के home पे defeat करना, it's a big statement. Yeah.
yeah. Param, and you know, before we get into the antics of the match, first of all, यार मैंने एक statement मारा था, like, we are seeing Dyer playing Champions League quarterfinals in 2025 is something very surprising. And I know a lot of Bayern fans also agree. We have a few Bayern fans. I know a few Bayern fans, and they're also equally surprised. But Param, yaar, before we get into this, I want to talk about one person, one particular player I want to talk about, and I know who I pretty much know. तेरे को पता है मैं किसकी बात कर रहा हूँ. You have to touch upon Barella,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm going to get to Bastoni later, but Param, we have been seeing him. Of course, you, though I'm not counting you, but Yogesh, we have been seeing Barella doing this for Italy, for Serie A, and he's been doing it in the Champions League also actually, but in a
Hmm.
Yeah.
big stage yesterday. वो कल कमेंटेटर एक टाइम था बोल रहा था बरेला डीप खेल रहा है एज अ सेंटर बैक. बाद में उधर मिखितैरेन आया, बरेला गॉट मूव्ड अहेड इन द फर्स्ट हाफ ओनली. ये सब इन अ मैटर ऑफ 10 मिनट्स हुआ, एंड देन इज थ्रू बॉल विच आई थिंक लौतारो स्लिप भी किया था एक बार. एंड ओ माय गॉड, लाइक
मेरा दिमाग वो घूम गया था थोड़ा लाउतारो.
या
योगेश, I don't
या
know if you saw that.
वो
But
exactly, but he made up for him. He pretty much made up. But my point is, was this is the stage you need, and I'm talking about not the dribbles. I know Bayern have beautiful dribblers. Yeah, Olise is amazing, and Leroy Sané also was getting his pace. But you miss this, a midfielder परम जो number 6 खेल सकता है, number 8 कर सकता है, can get you beautiful through balls, engine बोल सकते हैं. And एक चीज बताओ परम, he's I think इतना खेला है वो, even the league match, like डार्बी भी खेला था, लीग भी खेला, whatever it is, उसके पे he's been playing a lot. He was the only player who didn't look like heavy legged, you know. He was pretty much on his toes, he was sprinting. Param yaar, you need to tell the world, like people saw it, like what was your Barella? Isn't it criminal now if people don't talk about him as the top 3 midfielders in the world?
before I get to that, I just want to thank Sarthak, who's become a new member for our channel, Yogesh
Thank you,
and Chintan
Sarthak.
bhai. Again, and he says, love what you guys are doing with this channel. More power to you. I'm first of all grateful here, you guys. If you've chosen to take up the membership, again, we don't force that on anyone because we're actually still to figure out कि membership के कैसे divide करना है, क्या structure करना है. We are working on it. But to those who subscribe, take up the membership regardless. Thank you. We'll figure it out. Don't worry. I know there are a few other members as well. And I'll get to the rest of the comments. But Nicolo Barella, let me start with this, right? Because you brought up that pass, Yogesh and Chintan bhai. Let me pull this up. Basically, this is what we were talking about, right? This pass, right? I hope this is
Yes,
visible.
yes,
Yeah, I hope.
yes. Oh my
Yes, and
god.
Lautaro of course slipped at the wrong time, unfortunately. But as Nima says, a pass Pierlo would have probably been proud of. यार मैं एक ही चीज बोलना चाहूंगा चिंतन, निकोलो बरेला. I mean, I'm also kind of out of words. मतलब मेरे पास भी ज्यादा बचा नहीं बोलने को because he is world class. I don't think there is any doubt about that. He's obviously he's a hybrid of your 6 and a 8, and he can do either role very well. Mostly, in that right half space more than a regista. And like honestly, as I said, I've run out of words because abhi it people don't realize he's been at Inter for a while now. Matlab, he joined in the 1920 season. He was very raw, not very raw, but he was raw, thoda immature. I've seen that grow, just like him and Lautaro Martinez. Both of these guys. Lautaro joined a season before, of course. Barella, matlab, mature बहुत हुआ है in terms of his, he's calmed down as a player also. Obviously, he will throw a tantrum or two. That's just in his nature. वो है
Yeah,
थोड़ा,
वो
but
तो typical Italian है.
yeah, but generally he's calmed down. He's become that more of a leader, which I used to always doubt कि बनेगा कि नहीं इतने tantrums के साथ. And his gameplay, the technical ability is off the charts. I never thought his technical ability would reach this level. Like the pass you just saw, even being involved in the second goal, which
Second
was
goal.
scored by Frattesi. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So the calm, the understanding of the game, how he's so important. ये जो engine बन गया Inter के heart का, he's become the engine of this whole team.
Exactly.
He has a good day, everybody will have a good day. It's certain. I think even Yogesh and everyone, all of us Serie A watchers will agree with this. If Barella by default has a good day, everybody around him will have a good day. It's a given, or Inter will definitely have a good game for sure. And yeah, I mean, player like this, a tank who rarely gets injured, fingers crossed. I don't believe in jinxes and all, but just giving my fingers crossed कि बंदा कभी injured ना हो, but rarely gets injured. He's always ever present, loves the club, grew up sort of supporting Inter as his, like with Cagliari side by side. So, भाई मेरे पास ज़्यादा बचा नहीं. Like it just shows you when you have the right, these kind of players that care about the club, then you give them the right condition. I'm sure you guys are missing Tonali on that side of Milan,
Yeah.
in a similar case. Exactly, rightly so. So, matlab, I'm out of, and when people say, yeah, he's not world class, I just stop debating because I know
No,
ये
no,
लोग
no,
देख.
no. Please, I think तू तो बोलेगा तो तेरे को public बोलेगी bias है. I think it's the best if it comes from me as a
Yeah,
pure rival.
yeah.
There's nothing that I did a shoot recently of an episode where I did a reel मैंने बनाया था, and they asked me who's the most underrated player right now. So I said underrated slash underappreciated मैं बोल सकता हूँ, and I named Barella.
Underappreciated. Yeah,
Under
underappreciated.
because देखो, my point of bringing this up is uh, football is going in another direction.
Hmm.
Param Yogesh, football is more about pace,
Hmm.
physicality, system. Then sometimes you get a player
Hmm.
of a mold who can be a hybrid, who can adapt to multiple systems. And
Systems.
why do you think Luka Modric, Param Yogesh, is so critical, and he still
Yeah.
plays so well because he has that magical touch still with his through balls, with his crosses. I still remember his winner when they played against City. So all these things now, Param, ये natural ability है. When you are
Yeah,
25,
yeah.
30, 35, वो कभी जाएगा नहीं. And what we saw about that pass, Param sees position. If you start that, can you pull that up again, please? I just want to break that pass down.
Sure,
See
sure. I'll
where
pull
he
it.
is. See where is he. See him scanning. This is what we
Yeah.
don't get because if you play a system and if you don't give a freedom to a particular player, Yogesh, क्या होता है? A player now. Let's yes, pause it. Pause it. Can you go a little behind and pause that? Little behind.
Sure. His position, right?
Yes, look where he is. Now let's see on an
Ah.
average day. On an average day, look where this is. On an average day, when you're playing a system, you expect either to give it to another center back or a goalkeeper or clear the ball. Look
Hmm.
where he is, and if you go ahead, look where Lautaro is. He, of course, because of the telepathy, knows the run. He's bypassing the midfield and the defense completely. This
Hmm.
is not taught. This is a freedom which a manager allows a player to get. So what I feel is this is what is lacking generally in football. I don't see a lot of players. एक प्लेयर अगर लेट्स बायर्न की बात करें, पर हम एक प्लेयर याद आ रहा है मुझे, वो थियागो अलाकांट्रा. He used to do that
Hmm.
for Bayern also for a very long period of time. So these
Hmm.
are the things, Param, you don't get in modern players. That is why I
Hmm.
always keep saying it. And एक बहुत अच्छा चीज कौस्तुभ ने बोला था कल on the show, Barella
Hmm.
Bastoni with a good environment उनका growth इतना हो रहा है. Had they moved around a lot of Italian clubs, तो शायद we would not have seen them right now.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
amazing. And एक phase था play का, परम, where Barella was playing as a centre back, of course how Inzaghi usually plays. And I think must commentator भी बोला, शायद Inzaghi ने बोला होगा, because then Barella started closing the defender. तो एक switch करने को शायद बोला होगा, and that happened. There was a series of passes. योगेश, अगर तूने गोल देखा, वो कुछ stat आया है परम उसका, the number of passes were made before Bayern scored that goal. That was absolutely. Do you have the goal, Param? The first goal. Let's get to the first goal, man.
Yeah, let me try to pull it up. The first goal. Just give me some time. I'll just pull it up. But my point being, I'll pull up the second actually, yeah. Let me just find the first goal again. But yeah, I agree with you. मतलब I think योगेश भी agree करेगा कि actually योगेश से ही पूछते हैं, तुझे क्या लगता है योगेश? Because the growth of the player that Nicolo Barella is, तू as an Azzurri fan बोल सकता है obviously because you support the Italian national team and you watch how important the guy is for the national team as well. मतलब तू agree करता है sentiment से कि as long as Nicolo Barella has a good game in general, whatever team he plays for will do well and will perform at a very high level.
I would say यार बरेला it goes two ways, right? बरेला को एक काफी अच्छा environment मिला, काफी stable and काफी अच्छे players भी मिले, काफी अच्छा management and coach भी मिला at Inter. That's why he has been able to grow himself. Like when Barella initially जब आया था on the stage, right? He was not
Hmm.
one of the most popular players or like there were not उस पे वो टाइम पे इतना limelight नहीं था कि
Yeah,
ये
eye
player आगे
catching.
जाके कुछ फोड़ेगा कुछ करेगा लाइक एज अ सिल्की प्लेयर ही इज नॉट दैट ड्रिबलर सॉर्ट ऑफ प्लेयर जिसके ऊपर सबकी आईज आती है राइट तो
Hmm.
बट उसे इतना अच्छा एनवायरनमेंट मिला दैट्स व्हाई ही हैज बीन एबल टू ग्रो सो मच एंड नेचुरल
Hmm.
टैलेंट तो बरेला के पास में है ही यार लाइक ही उसकी पोजिशनल सेंसिंग द वे ही इज एबल टू होल्ड द बॉल अगेंस्ट द प्रेस these
Hmm.
things are very important and he plays such a crucial role in this inter setup that you can say
Hmm.
yeah, like agar Barella is having a good day then the entire team has a good day. But if Barella is somewhat like not on the game or off color,
Yeah.
then Inter do struggle on those days.
We will. I agree with your sentiment. We will come to a bit of the numbers of the game. ये वो थोड़ा और breakdown करेंगे. I just want to quickly, because Chintan मैं asked for the first goal, so let's start breaking down the game. This is obviously the first goal. एक तो मैं Sommer की भी praises I have to sing,
Amazing,
because
amazing.
what a fantastic goalkeeper चिंतन मैन योगेश, मतलब उसने कल बचाया भी, प्लस ये कंस्ट्रक्शन देखो अब गोल का Sommer से स्टार्ट होता है.
मेरे को ना एक बहुत सिंपल चीज लगा था. आई थिंक प्लेइंग अवे एलियांस में बायर 15-20 मिनट्स काफी गेम में इन्वॉल्व था. ऑफ कोर्स इंटर आल्सो काइंड ऑफ सीइंग हाउ बायर्न प्लेज. वो एक दे आर ट्राइंग टू मेजर बायर्न बोल सकते हैं कि कैसे खेल रहे हैं. एंड उसमें ही उनको बहुत अच्छा चांस मिला था, विच ऑफ कोर्स परम एज यू सेड हैरी केन शुड हैव स्कोर्ड. गेम वुड हैव बीन वेरी डिफरेंट. बट मैंने ग्रुप में भी बात किया था कि इवेंचुअली बायर्न माइट जस्ट गेट स्ट्रेच्ड. ये अलाउ कर रहे हैं. पीपल वर, अरुण बोल रहा था ग्रुप में कि यार ऐसा क्यों खेल रहे हैं. Probably Bayern were slowing the game, sorry, Inter was slowing the game down because they wanted Bayern to stretch themselves out, कि और अटैक करें, विंगर्स और आगे आए. एक गैप दिखा, जो वो पास भी था, जो बरेला का पास था परम, you saw the midfield किधर था, you know, so that allowed that pass to go through. So probably वो चाहिए था. It took 15-20 minutes I think to Inter to get its back, like you know, get the ball rolling. मैंने एक्चुअली ये गोल हुआ ना, उसके 3-4 मिनट पहले इंटर हैड वेरी गुड पोजीशन. ये अच्छा पीरियड था इंटर का, एक अच्छा टाइम चल रहा था, एंड उसमें ये गोल आया. सो लकीली केम एट द वेरी गुड टाइम, एंड इट जस्ट शोज लाउतारो 2-3 बार ऐसे सिचुएशन आए थे वेर ही हेल्ड द बॉल वेरी वेल. ही वन द फाउल स्पेशली अगेंस्ट जोशुआ किमिच. एक फाउल अच्छा जीता था. ही वाज होल्डिंग द बॉल रियली वेल. एंड एक स्लिप हुआ, ऑफ कोर्स वेरी, आई एम श्योर एज एन इंटर फैन यू मस्ट हैव, एज यू सेड, यू गॉट वेरी एंग्री. But boss, this whole build-up was just a clear example of how Simeone lays his team down. And I keep saying one thing again and again: the more you press in Inter, the more they will enjoy playing against you. That is what my take is.
Fair enough, fair enough. Just थोड़े stats दिखाना चाहता हूँ before we get to the comments and the second goal, and योगेश के भी thoughts लेते हैं उसपे. Like obviously starting level तो सब जानते हैं. I'm not running through that. Obviously this is the team that played man of the match and all. I'll ask your opinions on that, but apart from that, agar aap dekho, you know, if I just pull up some numbers, for me this is that one game where the XG doesn't obviously tell you the full story. While yes, Bayern did create, as Chintan and Yogesh said, Bayern could have taken the lead, should have taken the lead, but this is a game where the XG doesn't necessarily tell you the full story. While, because ये मेरा लॉजिक है, Bayern despite some struggles right of theirs, ये मैं बोलना चाहता हूँ, injuries aside, Leroy Sané is not having the best of seasons. He's been okay at best if you really ask any Bayern fan, or if you watch Bayern yourselves. Serge Gnabry has just not been it. Obviously, but the main stars have been Michael Olise and Harry Kane. And obviously Thomas Müller की कम contributions there, but he's always been key. देखा जो आपने उसने कल भी गोल मारा था. Point being, he started, Vincent Kompany started with Rafael Guerreiro as an unexpected move, because he's more of a runner, double-footed. But the issue was obviously Rafael Guerreiro just injury से आ रहा था, उसके training sessions हुए नहीं थे बराबर से, तो it was a bit of a risk. But कैसा है ना चिंतन में, I was saying this in the build up to the game, this version of Inter, which is a little less solid than last season, is kind of more prone to teams that run at them. मतलब इसीलिए हम लोग ज़्यादा deep जाते हैं, because if we step up and try to win the ball, and if we get beat, then it's a clear through, you know, the other team is through on goal. So we sit very deep, extremely deep, like, you know, like literally low block ekdam, so that we allow teams to come at us, and we are comfortable with that last ditch defending. It might look uncomfortable on your TV screen. You know, TV पे जब मैच देखते हो चिंतन भाई, एकदम योगेश, एकदम last ditch defending can look uncomfortable, right? Like it can be like क्या defending चल रहा है, opposition team को तुम अंदर कैसे आने दे रहे हो, because it looks like यार तुम defending अच्छा कर नहीं रहे हो, but in reality Inter lets you kind of come at them. And then they play out of the press, as Chintan Bhai said. Like, I'm not saying it's always the right thing to do, but that is a way of playing. You know, at times it gives us this false perception कि शायद जो आपको अटैक कर रहा है, ये मैं इस गेम का रेफरेंस नेसेसरली नहीं ले रहा हूँ, but in general in football.
Yeah, I think परम तू जो बोला ना, this prime example was a City game at Etihad. That was a prime example how deep Zielinski ने एक solo run लिया था, याद है? In that game, he took the ball. He was a midfielder. He took the ball outside the box, where he had a line of defense behind him. That's how deep Inter plays. But for me, एक simple question है. If you know your defense is good, then why don't you trust them? Like, you have to trust them, right? So I also again don't. This is a narrative, of course, that hoga. I think it backfired against Napoli only. Inter sat back, conceded in the end. So एक दो बार होगा ऐसा incident, but then of course you have to trust your instincts.
No, I agree. देखो, it is a risky approach. मैं नहीं बोलना चाहता it's the best way to go about it, but also you have to realize that Inter don't necessarily have pacey defenders, all that of stuff. So if you push up, then there is a risk. If you get beat, then you're already screwed. You're already conceding. You're playing a very risky approach with the team you have. और मैं यही बोल रहा हूँ, Bayern के टीम में चाहे quality का issue हो right now with Sane and all. The thing is, the fact is, these players are runners. They run at you directly. Sane will take his man on. Gnabry will take his man on, and that causes complicated situation. I remember कल जब Gnabry को substitute किया मैच में, Bisek एक तो nervous energy के साथ enter किया. I don't know what Bisek was doing ever since he entered the game, but Gnabry was having moments which was kind of shocking to see. And I have utmost respect for Bayern, but if you ask any Bayern Munich fan, even they'll point out and say कि भाई Serge Gnabry is not it currently. So I was like, भाई क्या कर रहे हो तुम लोग? Serge Gnabry को कहाँ से तुम लोग इतना dangerous chance लेने दे रहे हो? Again, that was on Bisek. So my point is कि भाई we have to let these teams come at us, and then we build our way around them. It is risky, but that is kind of our strength. So yeah, I think we saw the stats as well. I just want to go through a few numbers again. So my point was कि XG might not necessarily tell you the whole story, but yes, Bayern did create the dangerous chances. Kane का भी header था चिंतन by first half में. फिर there was another chance where Kane headed it over, Kane hit it wide. There were a lot of chances they also had. I'll be very fair to them कि वो लोग मार.
That is just, as you said, Kane is a kind of a player, Yogesh, उसको half सान चाहिए. He's probably the most elite striker right now. If you ask me, I'm a big Lewandowski fan, but I love Harry Kane. I'm telling you, he
Harry
has
Kane is
my words. Harry Kane is उसको half a chance मिलेगा वो convert करता है. So that is why it was such a surprising miss.
Exactly, and this is why वही ना योगेश बात है कि हैरी केन को ट्रोल वोल इजीली किया जाता है, बट जैसे चिंतन मैंने बोला, वो जो कल उसके मिसेस थे, even I was shocked. I was like, what the fuck, how did I? वो जब वो चांस आया, जब पावर्ड ने, एक तो पावर्ड just gifted that pass to Bayern Munich, क्या पता, I don't know what he was trying to do, and I was like, भाई ये तो गोल है. जैसे ही केन के पैर पे बॉल गिरा, I was like, चलो 1-0 Bayern Munich, and I was like, what the fuck, this guy's hit the post from there. I was shocked. I was shocked. I was like, what the hell? I don't expect a Harry Kane to miss that. So I was that shocked because of that. But Naseeb हमारा, obviously I'm happy he missed that. I'm not complaining, but you get my point, right? So अगर आप देखो भी interceptions इंटर के इधर, मतलब a lot, 61% tackles were and everything. We were deep, and Sommer को मैं बार-बार बोलूंगा, I'll give this guy credit, man. He is amazing. Like Josep Martinez is a good backup goalkeeper, but Sommer is Sommer. Like you have to have this guy.
There was a time where I think Olise took a shot and someone took a shot and he just grabbed the ball. He made a leap and he took the ball. So he's a great shot stopper. And what I like about his distribution, amazing distribution. And for a team like Inter, Yogesh, अगर ऐसी टीम में a distributor अच्छा goalkeeper नहीं हुआ, like you put a Gigi Donnarumma in this team, Inter will struggle because Donnarumma is not very good with his legs. Might be a great shot stopper, but they need a player who is great with passing.
Yeah, so what you saw in the first goal, na, Chintan, I'll just quickly show this again. This long pass you see from Sommer, right? और ये जो इधर Lautaro receive कर रहा है, but this at Gladbach, right, Yogesh and Chintan bhai, so this is the same pass he used to play to Marcus Thuram and Borussia Mönchengladbach. A straight pass, Thuram used to drop deep and receive it, jump and receive it. So it is a very something they're used to. मतलब Thuram और Jan Sommer since their Gladbach days. So just wanted to highlight
but
that.
It is just, can you थोड़ा पीछे जा, look at Thuram. He pretty much knows this ball is going to him. Play now. You see this. Thuram, he hits it. Look at Lautaro's run. He knows the ball is coming back to him. If Thuram collects it, look at this. He is ready.
Let me just get back to the comments, Yogesh. तेरे लिए भी comments.
Yogesh has to leave before Yogesh leaves. यार,
okay, Yogesh.
गोल के बारे में क्या बोलना है? मेरे को एक चीज बता, गोल अच्छा था या फ्लिक अच्छा था? सब लोग बहुत डिबेट चल रहा है. Was the goal better or the flick better? Guess how was the goal?
गोल तो बहुत शानदार था यार, असिस्ट भी शानदार था एंड क्लासिक इंटर गोल था यार. लाइक विंग प्ले से बॉल अंदर आता है, ट्रांजिशन में टीम है, तो एक दिस हैज बीन अ क्लासिक इंटर गोल दिस सीजन. काफी बार लोग ने स्कोर किया ट्रांजिशन में एंड समवन फ्रॉम द विंग्स, लाइक इन मोस्ट केसेस डिमार्को ही कुछ ना कुछ अच्छा असिस्ट डालता है, राइट? और ये स्पेसिफिक गोल तो काफी शानदार था यार. लाइक आई कैन नॉट चूज बिटवीन द असिस्ट और द आउटसाइड ऑफ द बूट लेसेस का फिनिश. लाइक
तू तेरे लिए मैं काम आसान करता हूं, मैं तेरे लिए काम आसान करता हूं. ये तो इमेजिन कर नापोली में हो रहा है क्वाराट्स के लिए और ओसिमेन के बीच. क्वाराट्स के लिए फ्लिक किया और ओसिमेन फिनिश मार रहा है. ऐसा सोच, अभी पिक कर किसको पिक करेगा? मुश्किल क्या है, आसान क्या? एक्चुअली मैंने तेरा काम ज्यादा
नहीं, मैं कवारास्केलिया को पिक करता हूँ, तो टू
हाँ
रॉन्ग
तो अभी
assist.
तो असिस्ट
Ajay,
बेसिकली.
before Yogesh goes, we have a Bayern supporter who's asking a question.
श्योर श्योर,
Yogesh,
वेयर इज दैट? आई एम सो
we'll take
सॉरी.
him. Hi guys, first of all, Gladiator, glad to have you
ग्लैडिएटर
here.
भाई, एक तो मस्त यूजर नेम है, मतलब आई लव ग्लैडिएटर 1. अभी तक टू देखा नहीं है मैंने, लव द
ना
फर्स्ट
मत
मूवी.
देखना. फर्स्ट मूवी इफ यू लव इट, सेकंड मूवी मत देखना.
मत
इट्स नॉट
देखना,
एज
ठीक है
वो.
चलो.
इफ वी आर ऑल, आई एम इमोशनली अटैच्ड टू ग्लैडिएटर द फर्स्ट मूवी, बिकॉज
हम्म.
उसका स्पीच ही, उसका नाम ही, जो मैक्सिमस का पूरा नाम ही बोल रहा है, वही दैट्स इनफ टू गिव यू गूज बम्प्स. सो डोंट वॉच इट. बट ग्लैडिएटर, glad to have you here यार. And we are all in Calcio Churcha, we all appreciate what a great club Bayern is. So Yogesh, knowing how Inter are, a 1-2 का lead लेके जा रहे हैं at San Siro, okay, where they usually play very well, and you know in the Champions League they've only conceded 3 goals, I think, right? The third goal they
Yeah,
conceded.
yeah.
तेरे को लग रहा है they will concede, and you think Bayern, of course I'm not saying Bayern का chances ही नहीं है, of course, but तेरे लिए कौन favorites है अभी after the first leg?
After the first leg, definitely Inter are the favorites, but we still have to remember that it's only a one goal lead, right? And all it takes is just a moment of एक कोई
एग्जैक्टली.
mistake हो गया, there's a slip in the defense or something. एक moment like Champions League nights में क्या होता है? Only one moment is enough to change the whole complexion of the game itself, right? So one goal lead है. In the next game, I'm expecting like the first 15 minutes if Inter come out of the blocks like in a fast pace, they press Bayern high up and score a quick early goal, then I would say Inter would have a very good chance of going in doing a deep run. Like they're already on a deep run, but they'll be extending their run in the Champions League this season.
फेयर इनफ, फेयर इनफ.
वही है ना.
एनीथिंग? हाँ बोलो ना, बोलो चिंतन
बोल
भाई.
बोल 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 बोल, कंटिन्यू कंटिन्यू.
नहीं नहीं, I just wanted to say because Yogesh बेचारा रश में, so I didn't want to. I wanted to just ask him anything else you want to say, Yogesh, मतलब in general कुछ, because तू तो भाई मतलब तू गायब हो गया, तो आ रहा बहुत टाइम के बाद है. अजय भाई तो पूछते पूछते
वो
लाइक कल मैं भी हाँ बोलो बोलो चिंतन भाई.
वो भी आया है, परम चैंपियंस लीग नाइट के लिए आया है वापस.
तो वही फनी चीज वही, योगेश आपका अपना स्टाइल है, व्हिच इज गुड टू सी. नहीं मैं, वी वर तो वरीड कि भाई, लाइक दिस इज फॉर द कमेंट्स, वी वर वरीड कि योगेश गया, इसको हुआ क्या, लाइक इज ही फाइन और व्हाट नॉट, लाइक वी वर तो लॉस्ट.
Work
द
है.
लास्ट वी हर्ड फ्रॉम योगेश वाज ही इज लाइक मैं मुंबई आ रहा हूं, एंड दिस वाज इन मार्च, एंड दिस वाज बिफोर वी डिड द अंकल शर्मा एपिसोड. एंड इज लाइक चलो चलो सब लोग मिलते हैं, ही मेड द प्लान, चिंतन भाई इफ यू रिमेंबर, मिलते मिलते एंड वही गायब हो गया, मतलब
हाँ,
वही फनी
एग्जैक्टली.
चीज थी.
ओके, बट चलो, अगर अंकल शर्मा इज आल्सो हियर. सो
Oh, what is going on?
अंकल, व्हाई
Everybody,
आज का स्ट्रीम इज ब्लेस्ड. ग्लैड
yeah,
टू हैव यू
Steve is
अंकल
blessed,
शर्मा.
bro. Yeah,
या.
he was. I watched his post-match reaction as well as always. Like, yeah, we were definitely, we played them at the perfect time. I mean, I just wish we also didn't have so many injuries, bro. Like, if we had Dumfries, DiMarco, whatever, we'd be able to manage the whole situation so much better. So, yeah. So, what? Yeah, sorry, you were saying for Yogesh. Sorry, Yogesh is in a rush. So, Yogesh, you want to say anything before you go?
Yeah, I would like to say Forza Serie A in Champions League. And
Wow.
I hope I hope Inter go on. ये तो मैं सीजन के स्टार्टिंग से ही बोल रहा हूँ.
Ah, fair enough.
Inter win the Champions League, Napoli win the Scudetto, best finish of the season.
Yeah, fair enough यार योगेश. विल सी यू होपफुली नेक्स्ट टीम तो अभी एक कल या परसों ही होगी, तभी नापोली के बारे में भी बात करेंगे. डेफिनेटली ट्राई टू कम यार, because we need
Sure.
more we need you to be there for Napoli. You've not been here for like 3 weeks or something now, so we'll see you,
Yeah.
man. But yeah, let's
So,
let's Chintan, before I get to the comments, let's get to the second goal as well. I'm just trying to find a better video. I found it, but just until then, if you want to take the comments, Chintan or something, I'll just find the second goal. Or actually Muller's equalizer. Should I go through that first? I think Chintan Bhai is also gone from the stream. Until then, I'll just take the comments. Kane should have scored that, but he has Spurs genes. Look, man, he can still score a. I don't want to troll him or anything because he's still a top class player. Uh, we have Inter will dominate Barca. Don't worry, whoever is going to be in the final will be more interesting. Bhai, we still have a second leg to play. I know you're probably trying to jinx being a Milanista, but we are not getting that ahead of ourselves. Uh, get my good costume Bhai on stream. I want to worship him. Yeah, he was on live TV yesterday on Sony representing Serie A, flying the Serie A flag high. And kudos to him. He represented, as always, he represented Calcio very well. He represented Inter He represented everything in general, everything Italian football very well. So obviously we need more of him. Uh, I Bisek is a headless chicken. Conceded a goal again. Yeah, Bisek, I agree, but still it's a bit of a problem. Like the way he entered the game was not good. Like even I was not a fan. Like he clearly looked nervous and confused as to what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. And I felt we conceded that goal not because of him, but I felt he could have dealt with that crossing situation better. So yeah, he definitely looked very confused. Uh, he wants Napoli to win the title, otherwise Adrish will bully him. Uh, Wait, let me see. I put my hopes on Arsenal and they actually delivered. Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about that game on some other stream and then more of a general stream, but I watched that game. I read about it as well. Insane performance by Arsenal. Yeah, Augusto has definitely evolved. Like you are seeing the version you saw at Monza, not qualitatively, but like the goals and assist ratio is going up. So definitely a top, a good, very good backup to have. Actually, you can also play as a left centre back, and now he's pushing for a starting spot. Obviously, with Dimarco's injury and everything, Inter is going to win the UCL. Arre baapre. Pavel, nice to have you after a long time, man. Inter's XG is 0.85 and Bayern's 2.85. Something, don't know how much that matches the eye test. Yeah, exactly what we just discussed, right? I don't want to go with it. I don't want to look at it again, but I think we just discussed this key. It doesn't necessarily do justice. Chintan is back to the eye test. Chintan, I hope you can hear everything.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, yes.
yeah, sorry, Bajal says I wouldn't be surprised if Bologna finished second. Fair enough. But Chintan, let's get to the second goal. I hope if you can just, while I search it, you can just go through the comments until then. Actually, before the second goal, I was thinking of pulling up Thomas Muller's goal
Yeah, yeah,
because
of course. First of all, before we move on, he's one of the very few players. Joe, of course, many not few players, but yeah, he's old school for me. He's been, I think, here forever. I have a soft spot for Thomas Muller. I love his
mm,
work rate. He's a very unique player. Param. He's not a
हाँ,
striker. He's like a trequista, जैसे हम लोग बोलते हैं. So he's somewhere in the middle, and amazing. I feel I have been hearing news about him leaving potentially
हाँ,
end of the season. He's like a player I would snap in a minute, because he still has goals in him. And I don't know, Param. My before we get to his goal, this I was going to ask you this question.
mm,
I know, of course, a lot of things are going on with Muller, and he's not been
mm,
starting games. But as you said, uh, with a match this big, I'm just talking for the. I know Guerrero, as you said, he had the legs, but don't you think he would have been a better option to start at least as
yeah, yeah,
for a big game like
exactly.
Inter?
Exactly, because initially Muller was supposed to start the game. If you follow all the news, एकदम
Yeah.
build-up से अगर आप follow करोगे, he was supposed to
Yes.
start.
Yes.
But obviously, ये goal we'll discuss obviously. But the thing is, obviously, physically he's not in the same. Bastoni left him unmarked and
So-called, like, of course, so-called क्या? You considered 2 goals and
hmm,
एक penalty था शायद. I think one was a penalty which can't even considered like a goal. So
hmm,
my point is that ऐसा डिफेंस जो astute है, you need
hmm,
someone like a veteran who can, as you said, can find
exactly,
spaces. Harry Kane के
yeah,
लिए to make him very comfortable. So
exactly,
I understand if you're playing a Real Madrid or a Barca जो बहुत press करते हैं, you need runners, you need quick speed. So I think he missed a trick here. And okay, before we move on, of course Bayern fans भी इधर है. एक question था, your just general consensus, because I know we hear a lot of things about the appointment of Vincent Kompany as a manager. They really be you are like probably the most ardent football fan I know who watches every league, and I'm pretty sure still you didn't watch Burnley play because उसको देखना बहुत tragic था. Was it surprising because Bayern ऐसे बोले historic club is like a Juventus hiring like a random, like I don't know कौन किसका नाम भी लूँ, like Gilardino, like randomly out of nowhere. So do you
yeah.
think that was a surprising move for you?
Yeah, before that, first of all, I just agree. Yeah, Uncle Sharma is right here. Like Muller's happened, that definitely skews the XG
Of course,
a
of
lot.
course.
That definitely is missed. I agree with him. Coming back to the Muller thing, sorry, company thing, वो जब हुआ था, when it happened, I think obviously Bayern was just trying to take shape into their new direction. कि ऐसे करना है. With Ebel and all, they, with the whole
Yeah,
management back behind the scenes
yeah.
changes that were going on before Ebel came in. So definitely they are going for a more young coach approach. I was obviously shocked Vincent Kompany was the appointment, with all due respect. I know he has look, things can change in anybody's career. We've seen it, unexpected average players, become better. We've seen it with coaches as well, and it happens. I was just shocked because he's a very adamant coach. अगर आप देखो, अब Bayern fans से भी पूछो, they will say one thing. He only has one way of playing the game as of today. Now, whether he adapts over the years is a different story. He has one way of playing, which is your intense, aggressive, which what you saw yesterday as well. Despite the injuries, intense, aggressive style of play. To put it very simply, not to get into details, right? So, I was shocked that they hired a coach that decided who was basically stubborn. I was discussing this with Kostub in our mini preview as well. He said the same thing. What happened at Burnley was a result of his stubbornness, and obviously you saw what happened. They got
Yeah,
relegated in horrible fashion, and
horrible
then to
fashion.
get a job at Bayern Munich, it was quite shocking. And even my friends that support Bayern were quite shocked. I'm sure Gladiator, who's a Bayern fan, will also would like to give us his views. But yeah, I mean, I never expected that. But to be fair to him, I feel, handled the situation to a decent extent. Like, I think he's done a decent job. I still feel उसको बहुत है learn करने को. He has a lot of room to grow. He has a lot to learn. I still feel he needs to adapt in the way he approaches his game. Like, this insistence of playing like one way is not, I feel, sustainable. अब ये मैं बोल रहा हूँ और साला San Siro में he'll do something. It's
No,
just
but
jokes.
you're right. No, you're right. My point is Bayern and Juventus to ऐसी team है ना, they are very particular about certain things. So you expect them to do a particular things in particular way. That is why
Hmm.
Juventus hiring Motta and Bayern hiring
Yeah,
company was a pretty out of
of
the
course.
blue move.
But with all jokes aside, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was a bit, not a bit. I was like extremely shocked when Kompany was hired of all people, because there were other options. There were more reputed coaches available who they could have gone for, and with Bayern Munich, you expect that. But the thing is, that's what I said. They were going in sort of this new direction after everything, changed behind the scenes. The changes began. Eventually, they hired Ebel as their sporting director. So things were
Yeah,
changing. और मुझे वही लगा था. I just felt like, yeah, sure, maybe a new wave of coach is coming. I just didn't expect it to be Vincent
yeah,
Kompany.
Vincent Kompany.
And yeah, and to be fair, he's done a decent job, but I still have, as we say, the jury is out. I want to,
Yeah.
overall, this has nothing to do with the game against Inter. In general, I want to see what this guy does at Bayern Munich over the next year or so, because there has been criticism about how he uses certain players, how he's suddenly reliant on a player like Goretzka, who is, don't get me started. If you ask any Bayern fan, majority of the Bayern fans can't stand Goretzka. Like,
Listen,
that's
पहली
what.
बात तो परम इंटर sorry Germany won against Italy with Goretzka. जो lineup था Italy that
Yeah,
Italy shouldn't have lost to Germany first of all. I don't know how they got kicked out. Uh, but it was very surprising as Gladiator also said. As
yeah,
any Bayern fan would be shocked. Yeah, like I'm
yeah,
sure. But Juventus के लिए मोटा का एक ब्लूप्रिंट था जो बोलोनिया को चैंपियंस लीग लेके आया था इसका Burnley. But
exactly.
यार, let's go to the second goal.
Yeah,
Param, first of all, as you asked for my man of the match, I'll give my answer here. It has to be Augusto, because I'm not
yeah,
saying how he performed. वो तो
yeah,
secondary चीज है. My idea of him turning up for a game as big as this, where the jury was out on Inter actually, कि अरे यार Inter तो, as you said, उनको easy passage मिल रहा था, and to come out of DeMarco's shadow, because here, however good
uh,
he is, he's always going to be DeMarco's substitute,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So for him to come from that to एक indirect assist, of course secondary assist बोल सकते हैं, और एक actual assist, for me
yeah.
in the 89th minute to bomb up like that,
Hmm.
absolutely fantastic. So for me, if you ask me man of the match, I'll give to Augusto just for the confidence booster of what he
No,
has
no.
done.
आप बोल रहे हो कि Augusto should be the man of the match because he's fantastic. जैसे आपने बोला, he came into his own. This is, before you, when your stream crashed on your end, I was saying I saw that Monza version of Augusto, which is not, I'm not to say qualitatively, but वो Monza में आपको याद है कितने assists और goals निकालता था
Yeah,
regularly.
yeah.
That's the Carlos Augusto I'm now starting to see, a bit more bold. Maybe that hair transplant helped. जो हाकान से लेते टर्की में जाके, I think that helped him. So
but
whatever
but
it
you know
is,
what, Param, क्या हुआ है? Inter are going to play. You end up playing 50-60 matches in a year, so you are going to get your fair share of chances, Param, because it's now the FIFA World Cup. Inter are going to
yeah,
play, so
yeah,
you need to be up, because when you are replacing DeMarco,
Yeah,
expectations are going to be very high because DeMarco, brings something else on the pitch. So for
yeah.
me, for that only reason to turn up at Allianz Arena
Huh.
against Bayern, giving all like secondary assist and an assist and a
Hmm.
winner. So for me, for his confidence booster, he has to be the man of the match. Yeah, because ऐसे हमने
Fair
बोलते ही
enough.
पड़ा यार best of luck Augusto is starting. People don't understand how good he is
Like,
just because he's
yeah.
overshadowed by DeMarco.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, Augusto, I would say, is better defensively than DiMarco. I would actually say that. Also, you have to, Chindan, I remember this guy's been playing as a backup to Bastoni. He has that bulldog type of defending,
Yes.
ekdam natural, solid defender. So I see again. I want to say something. Augusto did very well, but look at this. Okay, what I even from a Bayern perspective, I think if I'm not wrong, this is Goretzka from what I recall
Yeah.
correctly. Again, a very stupid decision. He was already having a horrible game. उसके अगर आप numbers देखो, absolutely terrible. He was getting, pretty much
Bullied.
Barella was running, yeah, bullied. Barella was running circles. He decides to press up. Again, this I don't understand why a player like Goretzka is trying to do that.
But look at
And
that.
this is,
87th
yeah,
minute, just look where the front line is. This is what Inter
exactly.
like to do to press the call them out.
एग्जैक्टली एंड इधर आपकी न्यूमेरिकल सुपीरियोरिटी एटलीस्ट मैच हो रहा है सुपीरियोरिटी है नहीं फिर भी क्योंकि आप बायन का मिडफील्ड इधर नॉन एग्जिस्टेंट सी Kimmich is great, okay? Kimmich in general, mostly Bayern fans prefer to see him in defense. But this Kimmich Goretzka pairing is not it. Basically,
Working.
if you watch Bayern again, if you ask any Bayern fan, it's not it. This pair doesn't work, and largely it's down to Goretzka, obviously. So if you see this, एक तो already गया. One midfielder is out of the picture here, right, Chintan bhai?
Yeah.
And then look, Lautaro is good, great at dropping deep. He has that technical ability. Barella already runs past Goretzka. Sasha Boy, again, like not very solid defensively. He's talented, but he's had his fair share of stops in his Bayern career with injuries and whatnot. And again, look, he just forgets Carlos Augusto. Like how? Because obviously, not his entire
That's a
fault,
close
but
one.
चेतन भाई क्या हुआ है कि मिडफील्ड में काम नहीं बना है तो obviously Sasha Boy also has to close down, and he's completely.
Kudos, we all, of course, as an opposition, I say we do make fun of Frattesi a lot because he's not the Italian national team version when he plays for Inter, at least. But of course, he also again does not get his chances. But kudos to him.
Yeah.
But could you just, Param, throw some limelight on the celebration? Can you give us some backstory
Yes, so
before we?
I want to break this. By the way, people like share and subscribe. We are coming to the comments. Don't worry, we'll be wrapping up this stream. I'll go through the comments, but I just want to discuss all the points before we wrap it up. Because Chintan may brought up Davide Frattesi. Let me kind of pull up more context for everyone. A proper post here. Yeah. So basically, what that celebration was, or should I pull up the goal only? Yeah. So basically, yeah, I mean, let me just pull up the goal so that people see the celebration again. As you guys see, obviously, ये तो goal था. उसके बाद Frattesi celebrates in a crazy. That was the
Yeah.
misunderstanding neutrals had. But as basically the situation is obviously in Italy, as they say, the families in general are very close, just like in India.
Yes.
If basically,
Yeah.
like you live with your grandparents and whatnot, and he was very close to his grandmother, and obviously lost his grandmother over the last few days. And obviously, he's been saying that it was very hard for him to see that because his grandmother struggled a lot, and that celebration, as you can see, that reaction was for that. Basically, it was an emotion. He was emotional because.
Outburst.
Exactly. You could see he was almost going to cry. See, as his message says to his grandmother, I know you let out a few screams up there. I want to thank everyone for the love over the past few days. So you saw the team, the way they celebrated with him was mainly because they knew what he was going through. I wasn't used to seeing, as he says, my honest struggle the way she did. I like to think that she played a part in my goal tonight. She gave me a hand from above. So the same thing, like, right? So that celebration was that, like, he's been under criticism, fair enough, for his gameplay, nothing other than that. Then obviously he's things you don't know, right, Chintan bhai? At times you don't know certain things, but not everything goes out in the news. And even for us, Inter Easty, this was more of a late revelation. Then we got to know and we understand this guy's been going through a tough time, and you have to give it to him. Despite all that, he's come on. He scored a winner at the Allianz, which could make the difference. So kudos to the
Yeah.
guy. Like, and look, everybody's comparing it to the Goran Pandev goal because literally it has happened at the same time.
Same
80
celebration also.
Yes, 87-28. Obviously, the celebration is for different reasons. We know, we just discussed it. But yeah, he obviously is struggling, and at least Inter East are kind of now, getting off his back. कि अभी समझ में आ रहा है कि this was his actual reason. We also did not know for a while. So no, I just have to say, I hope he can bounce back from the loss he has suffered, because it's never easy, I think, in life in general. And
Yeah.
kudos to him for still being this putting up that whatever professional cameo he did. कि भाई Allianz Arena में आके ये इतने tough situation में mentally he has actually managed to score a goal, and he deserved that. I feel this celebration you see, it helps. Like, he needed that. He clearly needed
Yeah, outburst. It's an outburst. You need that at times.
outburst.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm just happy for him. I don't know what the future holds, but I think that's secondary right now. I think first, obviously, you think on a human level. You have to also as remember. I think they said it on CBS Golazzo or something. And I am saying this because I agree with the sentiment. We tend to be easily criticize players, and in general in sports, right, Chintan? But we tend to
Yeah.
kind of forget that these guys are also humans.
Human beings.
Obviously,
Surely, surely, man.
yeah.
I,
So no,
yeah,
bolo.
I'm just saying that it was, yeah, he does get a lot of criticism because he might not be the Barellas or the Mkhitaryan or Hakan mold yet, but
Hmm.
इतना प्रेस कर दिया परम, मैं मिलान फैन
Hmm.
हूँ यार, तो थोड़ा नुक्स तो निकालूंगा ये इंटर टीम में. Last night's performance, for me, one weak link you can say compared to everyone else was Darmian. Uh,
Hmm.
Only on one perspective, I would say is pace.
Yeah.
You say like he was, if he does a 1-2, he would not be able to reach the ball, which is fair enough. He is old enough. So my only in his entire performance over 90 minutes, what I saw was, you can say that my for me the weakest link, क्या बोले, कमजोर कड़ी कौन बोल सकते हैं, was Darmian for me. Do you agree with that? Like, do you think
Uh,
defensively, I don't blame you. You all been saying it before also. Defensively, Darmian does a great job, but against attacking wise, do you think थोड़ा lopsided था? Because we did see a lot of attacks coming from the left side. Right से बहुत आ नहीं रहा था. Do you think that was
No,
the
look,
case?
definitely, we he does not have the explosiveness of Denzel Dumfries. That is obviously there. But yeah, I feel thoda, if you were to say weak link, thoda harsh ho jata hai personally in my opinion. It's
Weakling
simply
in,
because,
weakling in the
huh,
sense is because if everyone is at X level, even if you're
yeah,
on a
I
step
understand.
below, that means on that level, on compared to Inter
Fair
starting
enough.
11
No,
level.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you if you think like that, because agree. I agree. But the thing is, for us, he's Mr. Reliable. He's always going to put in
Yeah.
that 6 out of 7 or 6 out of 10, or say 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10 on a consistent basis. और वही हो जाता है ना चिंतन में कि defensively he was still solid.
Yeah,
Under
defensively
pressure, you're
was.
still receiving the right passes. So you get my point. So for me to criticize him, it becomes very hard. But you're not wrong in saying offensively or flank thoda dead ho jata hai, because he does not have that explosiveness Denzel Dumfries has.
Yeah.
And he's not going to get it suddenly out of anywhere. He's getting older, obviously. वो नहीं होने वाला है उसके साथ. But the point is that sense of calm he brings, and the precision in tackling. Sure, it's not like he can't be beaten in 1v1s and all. But again, वो जो collective understanding with the rest of the team है ना चिंतन भाई, with the
Yeah, yeah,
Pavard,
that is.
that is valuable. But I agree with you कि वो right side थोड़ा impact होता है, attacks नहीं आते. But funnily enough, he has that knack of, like, last before the Parma game, right? There was this whole thing going on Twitter where Inter EC for some reason were on Darmian's case. Darmian ऐसा है, Darmian वैसा है. And it was reminding me of the time when he joined the club, when they were like, क्यों sign किया इसको? The point
Yeah.
is, he scored the first goal against Parma. I've been saying this. People kind of sleep on his attacking ability. I'm not saying it's great anymore. All I'm saying is he does have a knack, still somewhat of a random knack of a goal or an assist. He does have it in him. Parma के against भी उसी
Yeah.
ने मार. So I'm not saying, again, he has that explosiveness. I agree with you 100%. We do miss Denzel Dumfries. I just feel when people criticize him, especially from our fan base, I just feel that it's too
Harsh.
much. It's overdone. Yeah, it's overdone. Like, the guy is still Mr. Reliable, and there's no point of kind of hating him or whatever. But yeah, I
Okay,
think I'll
now,
just.
yeah,
Hmm,
before comments देंगे, let's just finish this off. मेरे को एक last question था.
हाँ,
Augusto with a मेरे लिए man of the match performance. Do you think
hmm.
DeMarco comes back directly in the starting 11?
So the news going around is he should return to group training in a day or two, which means he
But he
should
was
be
on the
available.
bench, right, yesterday?
He was, but personalized training ही कर रहा है वो, because they don't want to risk his condition. So Inzaghi said कि we know he's available, but if he gets injured, we don't want to lose him for 6-7 games, basically, whatever it is. So
Yeah.
they don't want to risk it. If he's fit enough for Cagliari, should we start him? Good question. Maybe not. Maybe you have to play Zalewski has to grit his teeth and play whatever left right जो भी पूछ रहे उसको करना पड़ेगा. And Carlos Augusto will have to put in a double shift. But if DiMarco is fit by the time the Bayern game comes around, that's a good question because Augusto is more solid defensively, and in this, that's what I'm saying. It's a very good
Yeah.
question, and this is where squad management comes in, right? Because
Yeah.
it's all about squad management now. कौन खेलेगा against Cagliari? कौन नहीं खेलेगा against Cagliari? Then who plays against Bayern? How much do you rotate against Cagliari? What kind of approach do you take against Cagliari so that you are in a comfortable position to rest some players early for Bayern? This is with no disrespect to Cagliari because Chintan, we always discuss this on our podcast. They are always tough to play when they're in a
Yeah.
relegation battle.
Yeah,
Cagliari.
battle, yeah.
Davide Nicola, Sam Allardyce of Italy, Kostub said it on Sony yesterday. So my point is, this is a chess game of squad management. And I feel if DiMarco can play against Cagliari, I would play him against Cagliari so that he also finds his feet. And I would stick to Carlos Augusto right now, for now, because of what I saw. I just feel against a Bayern, you need that defensive solidity first. Not to say
especially
Yeah.
especially when you're kind of going for like conserving a lead types.
Exactly. This is not to say DiMarco can't defend or Diego, and maybe DiMarco starting will give us an edge attacking because DiMarco and Bastoni create a lot of chances for us, Chintan, and
Yeah.
maybe the chance creation element will go up. But I just feel a bit more safe with the way Augusto played as opposed to a DiMarco who's just coming back from injury, right? So that's my perspective. थोड़े comments ले थे Chintan में. Let's just go through
And
comments.
last question यार, अभी ये तो एक बोला यार. अभी
हाँ.
you see Denzel Dumfries back for the second leg?
No, he's out for a while. Matlab, they are still doing personalized. He needs to have some, not surgery, but I think he's going to see a specialist and all. And they, at the time he got injured, initially it was 3-4 weeks. Then a week later, they said additional 3-4 weeks, which is 7 to 8. But I won't be surprised if the timeline goes up because whatever it is, it's not looking good. I don't think he's out for the season, but if he was out for the season, बाप रे, yeah, that would be a big blow. अभी तक तो ऐसा कोई news नहीं आया, but yeah, he's definitely missing the second leg. He's not returning anytime soon. So yeah, we have known that for a while. Huh? Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. Let's take the comments. I'll tell you where I stopped.
Ankush Sharma का ना, we played Bayern at the perfect time.
Yeah, I took him in his comment उसके पहले. We took the member का comment Sarthak.
ये है यार.
Oh yeah, we'll take this We'll take this at the end as predictions for from Sami. We'll just take these as predictions.
Chintan
bhai, how much?
Actually, he's an illegitimate son. तो अगर मूवी देखेगा तो थोड़ा कॉन्टेक्स्ट आएगा. मुझे पहले हंसी आ रहा था, मुझे ये कैसे बच्चा आ गया. बट वो बैक डोर से जो लड़के को वो जो निकलता है, यू सी द मूवी, यू कम टू नो शेज़ैब, लाइक इट इज बस बना दिया है मूवी, मेरे को लग रहा है. आई होप दे डोंट कंटिन्यू दिस.
Sorry. Peak finish from Lautaro, not gonna lie. Carlos Augusto masterclass. I'm sorry, Abhijay was kind of the one was saying कि वो शायद अच्छा ना खेले, which is fair. Like and share guys, and also to Ajay Menon. Yeah, definitely Ajay Bhai ka channel. If he's still in the stream, please. Ajay Bhai has crossed 2K subs, by the way. Kudos to him. The videos he makes.
Hard work, yeah, amazing.
Yeah, kudos to him. Hopefully we can also reach 2K very soon. I put my hopes on Arsenal. Sorry, I took this as well. Yeah. Abhijay taking pride in what Arsenal did. Also, now Serie A has a shot for 5 places. No need to thank us. Thuram assist was better than Lautaro finish. Yeah, simple question for people in the comments. Chintan bhai, I'll ask you also. What did you like more, Thuram's assist or Lautaro's finish? I want people to say this in the comments, and Chintan bhai, you also answer.
Finish. I know the assist was amazing. I'm always the assist guy, but the finish was fantastic.
Yeah.
How his body alignment kaisa tha.
Yeah.
Rivella, like outside of the boot, anything looks just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, that was just beautiful with the power he had on that.
The net hill gayi thi thoda to, yeah.
Yeah. Bayern had the ball for the whole second half and managed only one goal. Like, again, having the ball also, Bitzel, you have to do the right things. Sure, they did look dangerous and we did look gassed. So I did see, their goal was coming. It's just that I'm glad we responded with a winner. Please don't bottle the second leg. This goes for both Arsenal and UC and also for us at Coppa Italia. Nice way of circling that around, Robbie. Outside foot curler from a distance, top bins. I'm not thinking about the final. Abhijay, one game at a time, says Abhijay. Yeah, 6 to 7. But again, which we all know, yes, more than 7 actually. and Inter also have injuries. See, we are not denying Bayern have injuries. Like, of course they do, and obviously that helps Inter. But it is what it is. Right? At the end of the day,
Unfortunate. That's
all
how
of
the game works.
it's unfortunate. Yeah, we don't like any team. मैं अगर मुझे हमेशा पूछोगे ना, my answer will always be this. Chintan, I always want, whenever we have such games or in any game, I always want the fittest teams to be available from both ends. But that's just not the reality of the
Yeah,
sport. Players get injured, unfortunately. It's part and
yeah,
parcel of the game. But yeah, look, Bayern is still a great, like a team you cannot underestimate. They're still a top club. Chintan Bhai said this.
yeah,
I'm assuming Abhishek is a Bayern fan, so we know what Bayern is capable of, regardless of their struggles. I saw no problems for Inter against this Bayern. Everything was controllable and defendable. Barzell, I would say I did see a few issues, like especially when Bisek came on, and even before. But yeah, I mean, we managed the game well. But again, let's keep our fingers crossed. There's a whole second leg left. When will DiMarco be back? He's already back. I mean, he's back. It's just that he needs to complete his group training sessions and whatnot. One sec, just hold on. Victor says, any website to watch Serie A matches? GXR is gone. GXR, like Chindan bhai, you know, like what the situation is. Like the streams are terrible right now. Go ahead. Sorry, you want
and
to say?
let's hope things change and let's hope GXR changes. So let unfortunately अभी तो कुछ है नहीं भाई. Victor भाई यही this is what you have to manage with.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like the matches are freezing. Chindan, every match the frame freezes
Forget
for
that.
like.
मेरे को तो लग रहा है when it restarts मेरे को लगा मेरे इंटरनेट में I keep restarting my
I
router
thought,
यार.
yeah, it was an internet issue, and I think they might as well drop the rights come season end, because Lagni Rai, they're being funded, whatever it is. We tried from our end, you guys saw it. We really tried to do something with them, but as a Lagni Rai, there is potential, unfortunately. And I'm missing Woot.
Yeah,
I'm missing Woot. I'm sorry. Great channel. Found you guys from the Uncle Sharma channel. Thank you,
thank you.
Nolan. Like, I just hope you stay subscribed and spread the word. We'll try our best to do what we do for Italian football. Lautaro Martinez also off the ball, defensive contribution top notch. Agreed. It does have 1080p, but if the streams only freeze, what's the point? What are you watching on your TV or
Yeah.
whatever device? Barella is Barella. Chintan bhai, Bayern wingers are good only on paper now. On form their shit. सब ओलीजे के बारे में ऐसा नहीं बोल सकता भाई.
Yeah,
छह है
Olise is
Chintan
top
bhai.
class. Yeah, Olise is top class.
Look, even Sane is decent. I would say Gnabry is the one basically the issue right now.
Navri
Gnabry,
is gone now. He's वो
yeah,
2020-21 वो टाइम पे अच्छा था. He's back to his West Brom days. ऐसा लग रहा
yeah.
है.
So what Bayern has injured players. Inter doesn't have Demarco and Dumfries.
No,
Yeah, I mean both have.
this is an age old argument. इसमें तो कुछ
ओए हो
सही
गया भाई.
गलत
देखो,
जवाब है.
this is not a matter of comparison, guys. Like both have injuries, both have to deal with it. It is what it is. I understand Bayern have more injuries than Inter, but hey, this is the reality. Inter also had tons of injuries in 10 other games. When we've lost derbies to AC Milan, Chintan I will know. We've had tons of injuries, but क्या कर सकते? Unfortunately, this is part of the game. And we would love to see fully fit version of both teams, but it just doesn't happen.
वैसे वैसे तो
Barella,
बोले जाएगा मोटा का जॉब भी गया because यूवेंटस के पास इतने इंजरीज है.
exactly, Mota, exactly. Bremer's injury and whatnot. So Barella is undeniable rivalry yesterday. He's very effective, good for us Nerazzurri fans regardless. Exactly, very creative player. Lautaro of the ball. Adrish, sorry, already said this. Barella passing was top notch. He's the one I like from Inter without any bias. Fair enough. Always a fan of passes. We need to be calm in the second leg. If Bayern score early, the game is on. We need to try and score early and hold the game. Fair enough. Like, yeah, you definitely need to be calm because Bayern will attack. Like, one thing I want to say, so to tie it in with this comment, Chintan bhai. So what has happened ever since that Frattesi celebration? I think there has been a misunderstanding on the Bayern end, and I'm just saying this objectively because you had a Kane saying kind of as part of a whole statement like Inter celebrated as if they won the tie, and even Kompany said post the game like they were celebrating that like they won the tie. But obviously, I don't expect a Kane or Kompany to know what is going on with
The
Frattesi. That
context
that
of the game, yeah. Context
context
of the
of it. So
celebration.
they have taken it like Inter has celebrated like they won the tie, which is obviously not true because you watch every Inter player that spoke publicly after the game. Everyone has said there is a second leg to play. We aren't getting carried away. We have a good advantage, obviously, but we have to work hard to maintain that. So I think there has
Again,
been.
I don't get this narrative too, Param. You beat a team who is not lost in like donkey
Yeah, you
years.
have a right to. You have a right to be happy. I think.
Right? I don't know. I never understood this. You, it is still regardless of where the result will go. ये तो कभी इरेज नहीं होगा ना कि इंटर ने डिफीट कर दिया बायर्न को इधर. So I don't know what the problem is. So yeah, let again, it's a different narrative.
No,
Any
no,
team has a right to
so
celebrate.
my point is there has been this sense of even Kompany and Kane on this side. I
Arrogance.
don't, not arrogance. I would say I don't expect Kompany or Kane to know what is going on with some other player ke life mein. It's just that I like there has been this kind of misunderstanding created कि we celebrated like we won the tie, but obviously we know the reason.
But things are,
But
पर ये things eventually बाहर आ ही जाते हैं. And listen, you have
exactly,
to give it to them also, because at that point of time, as a player, you are also a little angry, a
angry,
little
exactly,
disoriented. So you don't like to
exactly.
see that.
Exactly. My point why I wanted to bring this up is because I'm expecting a fired up Bayern Munich in the second leg. My point being, regardless. So we definitely have to be on our game. Barella waited, held the ball during hand gestures, and suddenly releases the ball, breaks the whole Bayern team. Tactical genius. Barella is also falling down, disbalanced while making that pass. Yeah, he does have the technique in him. He controlled that entire play like a conductor of an orchestra. Barella is sometimes inconsistent, and when he's having a bad game, the whole team looks miserable because Inter's play relies on him so much. I think this is
That's
what
what
we were saying.
Yogesh वही बोला था.
Yeah, the English commentator was so biased against Serie A. I don't know. I don't remember. मैंने इतना ध्यान नहीं दिया. मैं match पे focus था, to be fair. Look, I don't want to troll Philip Lahm. Like, I'm not interested in that. He's leave it. Just not my cup of tea. Like, I don't really want to get into that. But wait, where did I lose the comments? Chintan bhai, this is for you. Say, please say Forza Inter. Not happening. Not happening.
सात के बाद, after you win 7, you said मैं बोलूंगा.
Wow. I think our player Pavlovic will help us create more chances. He's good for Pavlovic, Alexander
Yeah.
Pavlovic, great talent, was definitely missed out, injured, obviously just returning from injury. Um,
He should be back for the second leg, I think.
yeah, I think he'll be back. Yeah, Baki to mostly. I do agree with Gladiator. He said somewhere Palinia should have played. I think
I
Palinia
like
definitely.
Palina.
Yeah.
I don't understand ये Kimmich और इसका bias क्या है, लेकिन but yeah, I think Palina should have played for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree. Like, Palina, look, even he can be a bit reckless. He's had those moments, but Palina is way better than Goretzka. Like, मुझे तो समझा ही नहीं भाई, like what that thinking was. The like I don't know about shitting. मैंने इतना ध्यान नहीं दिया, तो मैं comment भी नहीं कर सकता. मैं game enjoy कर रहा था. Yeah, fair enough. वो goal पे मैं full screen में हटा दिया था time पे. Premtards and English fans commentators in general are thick. ये सब तो मतलब वो अलग ही चीज है भाई. The last year we beat Atletico 2-1, scored earlier, then scored early. Sorry, in the second game and crumbled. Our place in semis depends on mentality. Inter can't allow complacency and arrogance. I think Chintan has also been saying this. I fully agree. Last night was a blast. Great to finally see Inter take on one of the game's perennial giants and beat them on their own turf. Fair enough, Ravindra. Wins like this would make Lam think twice before writing the kind of articles he does. Uh, again, I don't want to speak too soon. I don't want to speak too soon. Heyman currently a bit under the weather, just like Milan. How are you doing? मतलब Milan का तो भाई, I want to. So we will be doing a stream tomorrow, day after Chintan man. That's when we'll probably discuss more of your club, discuss more of Yogesh, because obviously times are not look. मतलब मिलान का तो मैं समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. मिलान गेम इंटर को छोड़ के मिलान सब बाकी गेम्स कब जीतेगा, मुझे वही समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. Like even I am a bit.
I don't know ये slide किधर से आ रहा है. मतलब टीम इतना खराब नहीं है, मैनेजर खराब नहीं है, तो what is happening? It's a mystery.
So mystery behind the scenes, but yeah. Inter also avoided fast counter attacks. Even at opportunities, they kept the tempo down. Yeah, fair enough. San Siro, I think Inter will be unleashed. Okay, let's see. Hopefully. I felt in the second half, Inter was struggling. They were trusting their defense a little too much. Fair enough, because I think Chintan bhai has a point. Inter was also gassed at this point. Bastoni.
Yeah.
So what? On Champions Ki Charcha, they were saying ki basically that mistake Bastoni made, I think it has a lot to do with fatigue, because when your fatigue sets in, you don't think clearly. And I feel that is exactly what happened over there. Most dangerous team, बाप रे, मतलब जिंक्सिंग क्या है भाई, मतलब
भाई बारसा फैन होके दूसरे को
exactly बारसा फैन होके भाई, मतलब तुम
बारसा अलग लेवल पे खेल रहा है यार.
Yeah, I think Bayern also made changes and adapted to us better, and we allowed it. Mix of both. What if there was Musiala? Of course, more dangerous.
I'm telling you, trust me, Musiala is that one line breaking passer जो गेम चेंज कर सकता है, but unfortunately था नहीं है.
What if? But again, we say what if for so many players. What if there was Denzel Dumfries? What if there was Federico Di Marco? What if, obviously, they had Upamecano in defense, although he's a bit rash and whatnot. Still, they have more options. You can say that about any player. You take the pressure off by asking your forwards to recycle the position for a while, and yeah, exactly how Inter play. Bisek came on. Bisek looked absolutely confused. I think Chintan bhai, that's the portion you might have missed, but he looked very nervous, and I want this guy to work on it. Uh, Inter बच गई, हैरी केन नेक्स्ट लेग में नहीं मिस करेगा. I feel that's your opinion, fair enough. But बच गए as in also Chintan में there was this one moment which actually is not being spoken about. I just remembered there was after the first goal in the second half. This is in the 55th minute. I remember there was actually a play where we could have made it 2-0. Lautaro ka shot tha, if you remember, and Urbik just saved it with his left arm.
Yeah,
And
he left leg.
the commentator said at this point, I just remember that one line. Ki bola Lautaro should have maybe gone at the far post. Although the
Yeah, far post.
yeah, across the Bayern defense had slid in by then, but I just
It was
felt
the first
because
half only. ये first half में ही हुआ था.
first or
He should have
second, I think.
first half में first. He should have gone body पे सीधा near post में मार दे. He should have gone across. Commentator वही बोल रहा था.
Exactly, because that could have been 2-0 for Inter. That would
That was
2-0
a
हो
game
जाता
changer.
था. Exactly. So look, as many chances as Bayern had, Inter बच गई. Yes, Inter did escape kind of with that Kane situation. Inter could have also made it 2-0. Exactly, but it doesn't tell the full story, right? I'll just take a few points. थोड़े मैंने already ले लिए है. Bayern fan obviously Gladiator के भी ले लिए, Uncle Sharma के भी ले लिए. Omar का we'll take at the end. We'll give predictions. नहीं ये भी ले लिया मैंने. मैन ऑफ द मैच ऑफिशियली बास्टोनी को दिया. कल या परसों होगा मिहिर. डेफिनेटली टॉक अबाउट अदर टीम्स. इंटर वर्सेस आर्सेनल हो यू होपफुली यूसीएल फाइनल बाप रे. वेट बीसेक ये भी ले लिया मैंने. कंपनी एरोगेंट. I would say arrogant. Yeah, I mean stubborn. Yes, arrogant. I don't know. Stubborn. Yes, that's his philosophy, though, right? वो एक ही उसको आता है, मतलब वही कर रहा है वो. तो तुम over the years he has to adapt basically. Bayern should have got Deserbi. Please don't take that guy's name. Please do not take that guy's name. He's forbidden. He's the Voldemort of this podcast. Because Kompany was touted before Xavi Alonso at Leverkusen, but Kompany said no because exactly. Lautaro drop. ये भी ले लिया था मैंने. Sorry. Palinia should have started. Basically, is what we agreed on. Was Frattesi ever on the verge? Yes, in January, Chintamna, if you remember, there's this famous talk of a Frattesi Cristante swap. Just imagine.
My God.
Just imagine if that happens. Cristante coming on against Bayern Munich. My God.
बाप रे.
हार जाते हम लोग आराम से. Like share and subscribe. That was his agent trying to get it done, obviously. Frattesi had his mom, his nonna, and his brother during trophy celebration last year. Exactly. So yeah, I felt that Pavard was not doing as well as I expected him to. There were moments in the game where he literally gifted that pass to the whole Kane situation. That was terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, I'll just take a last couple of comments and we can close. Dumfries is out for both legs. Lauti goal hands down was the better thing. We had asked the comment section. Yeah, Sony, we need Sony to come back. I hope it happens, but let's see. Can Inter clutch a treble? I hope is the answer for you. I hope.
नहीं भाई, तुमको 2 जीतने तो लीग और यूसीएल जीतने तो भाई. कोपा इटालिया मेरे को चाहिए.
Yeah, Milan needs it for the European.
I liked Inzaghi's comment. It made me feel good at least. यार, I could sense a frustration when he said कि यार मिलान क्यों आ जाती है सामने हमारे, because he was like it is very difficult to play against Milan. So I guess
he knows that.
Milan. Yeah, so what happens is I think since Pioli has left, जैसे हम लोग बोल रहे हैं, Pioli का the gung ho attack जैसे वो ये करता था, ये कर रहा है Kompany. Pioli played that aggressive football. So I don't think Milan plays that. Milan थोड़ा complacent, वो भी पीछे बैठती है. So Inter also has to come at Milan to score. I guess that is why Milan is finding probably so surprising that you're losing all games around, but Inter के सामने नहीं हार रहे. I saw the Coppa Italia clash, and then you concede 2 goals against Fiorentina in the first 10 minutes. How does that happen? I don't understand.
Yeah, that's strange. मतलब कभी-कभी डर्बीज का वो एक इफेक्ट रहता है, क्योंकि वही था, मतलब 6 डर्बी भी एक साथ जीतना आसान चीज नहीं होती.
I was like, next ये डर्बी फॉर्म अभी नेक्स्ट सीजन चेंज करना. ये एक और लेग बाकी है. तुम लोग उधर ध्यान, बारसा और लियोन, बारसा डॉर्टमुंड पे, बायर्न पे ध्यान दो.
इंटर हम्बल. अरे भाई, दूसरा लेग बचा है. शांत रहो जरा. रुको
वही भाई,
बेचारा इतना भी, मतलब जरा शांत. आई नो वी आर ऑल हैप्पी विद द विन. आई थिंक ही इज अ डॉर्टमुंड फैन. अर्श, बिग फैन ऑफ whom? Lautaro. Sorry, what? No, he's not coming, bro. He's just extended. Sorry to disappoint you. Lautaro took an extra touch which narrowed the angle. Yeah. So Lautaro said Chintan he was actually planning to shoot with his left foot, but he decided कि because defenders ने cover करे तो मैं right से Trivela ले लेता हूँ. I think instead of Cam, Kompany should go for Kimmich, Pavlovic, Palinia. Yeah, it makes more sense, to be fair. Cristantes, Gagliardini. if we win, Derby will be cool, but I feel Italiano will smack us in the final
नो नो,
anyways.
वो इटालियानो है भाई, वो फाइनल हारेगा.
नहीं वो नहीं आप अभी बोल रहे हो ये ना ये so we will take a this thing snippet of this and if he wins the Coppa Italia then thanks to Chintan bhai. Oh, it's sorry, you're not a Dortmund fan. He's a Real Madrid fan. I just remembered. Yeah, but you're in a
Yeah.
Dortmund jersey, bro. But yeah, let me just pull something up before we close this, Chintan bhai. I need to show you something. So basically, the whole point I just want to bring this one thing up is it's a Simone Inzaghi comment, which is let me find. Give me 1 second for
तीन वाला,
this.
तीन ट्रेबल,
Huh? Sorry.
ट्रेबल, तीन वाला, तीन ट्रेबल.
नहीं नहीं, तीन वाला नहीं है, तीन वाला नहीं, मतलब वो इतना तो भाई अभी से सपने नहीं देख रहे हम लोग. Basically, let me just find it. But what he said. So basically, over the last few days, people have been questioning his substitutions, questioning the players, whatever. Um, I think this is the one. Yeah, this is the one. I found it. So what has happened is basically Chintan में people have been questioning क्या substitutions चल रहे हैं, क्यों कर रहा है Inzaghi ऐसा, and not just him questioning the players. So what he says is, I hope you can see this, right? I hope you can see this.
Yeah.
He says the victory was basically possible to because of everyone's efforts, and that's why when I hear talk about what substitutions are done and what these how these substitutions play, he gets angry because it's inter squad that performs the way it does. Not only the 10 to 11 players. Where we are right now is because of the squad, and we playing for everything. It's because of the entire squad, and it's them. So he's saying basically if you're trying to pinpoint fingers at someone, you pointed at me and not the players who give it their all. So he's over the last few days he's really lost it. Matlab actually he's publicly attacking journalists and all basically.
Good.
So
He needs that fire out because वो भी चाहिए. As you need to
yeah, I
openly,
agree.
जैसे Jose Mourinho करता है, you need to openly defend your players also at times. So yeah.
Exactly, and it's happening because people are saying, "यार ये ऐसी substitution कर रहा है, क्यों नहीं कर रहा है?" But people don't understand. They're mostly related to fitness issues because at this point every player is tired. You know, Chintan man, you can understand it as well. But I think we are done with this stream, guys. I think ये बंद कर सकते हैं. Chintan man, anything you want to say to close?
No, but before we go, yeah, वो दूसरे match
predictions.
prediction, yeah, but you know, I feel even जैसे हम लोग बोल रहे थे, first of all, I have to give it to Declan Rice. What a free kick! Oh, that was sweet.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
so sweet. मतलब वो एक sweet spot लगा. यार, Real Madrid, big fan of. I like Real Madrid. It's a legendary club. But परम कितना और मतलब every time to pull the rabbit out of the hat every season, year in year out, थोड़ा difficult है. Plus this Arsenal team does remind me, not in a way of Inter in the sense, like ऐसा remind कराती है that you can beat them, but you can't bank 4-5 goals. Like ये इंटर के सामने तुम 4-5 गोल नहीं ठोक सकते हो. Like it can't be that bad. So वैसे ही मेरे को याद है आर्सेनल के तुम हरा सकते हो. You can't score 4-5 goal against this Arsenal team. They are pretty solid. Although Gabriel is injured, but परम लगता है तेरे को Real Madrid can do it?
I mean, we've been talking about Real Madrid's aura and everything, rightly so, right? They've done it before and all, but I would be. मैं क्वेश्चन नहीं कर रहा रियल मैड्रिड को. आई जस्ट फील आई थिंक ऑल वी वॉच्ड बोथ ऑफ अस हैव वॉच्ड अ लॉट ऑफ रियल मैड्रिड दिस सीजन एंड वी नो देयर इज समथिंग मिसिंग देयर. We know tactically they're not sorted. We know they have tons of injuries, just like Arsenal also. But yesterday, the way they lost, they were fully outclassed. And मुझे, I know this is the Bernabeu and everything, but I don't know where I see that difference, where it's coming from. I know sure there is an Mbappe, Vinicius, and all these guys are there. But I feel the balance is missing in this team. There is something like we've seen them leak goals even against Real Sociedad. I saw that game, that 4-4.
The Sociedad game was shocking.
Yeah, I saw that, and this is not a great Sociedad team.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
Is not
the worst. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know it. Yeah, it's not the best Sociedad team.
Yeah, you like Sociedad, I know. So definitely you must have also for. And if objectively speaking, nahi, मैंने before the game I predicted a Real Madrid win, but I watched that game, I read about it. The way Arsenal went about it, I feel this is Arsenal's to lose. Like, I'm sorry, this has to be. If Arsenal,
मैं बोला पर I had a very sneaky feeling because Arsenal does not concede. तो मुझे लगा ये लोग और 1-0 निकाल देंगे इधर एमिरेट्स में, but 3-0 too big of mountain to climb. I feel plus Kamavinga is now suspended. So
suspended, yes.
Big player, you know. I think Valverde to निकाल देगा परम from this team. जैसे कल भी धेनु का on the stream बोल रही थी on the show. It's true. To remove Valverde out, I think this team is kind of
Yeah.
tough. And Dortmund versus Bayern. लाइक
Barca,
बारसा सॉरी बारसा यार मेरे को पहले लग रहा था चलना वो लोग अटैक करे बट बॉस दे आर डूइंग इट कंसिस्टेंटली वेल एंड दे आर प्लेइंग वेल पेड्री फैबुलस यार पर यू टॉक अबाउट बरेला वो यार बट पेड्री अगेन ऑर्केस्ट्रेटिंग दैट बारसा टीम आई थिंक वो एक ऑर्केस्ट्रा जैसे मास्टर होता है वैसे कर रहा है सो अभी बिग फैन एंड आई फील regardless of what the second side of the bracket looks like, if it's a Barca versus Inter, I think it's a final. Like it's a final. I feel so. Great. I don't see Dortmund are struggling in the league also. यार परम तू देख उसका league form कितना inconsistent हुआ है. You
yeah.
see Dortmund getting past this Barca team?
No. Look, I feel Dortmund in the league recently have kind of stepped up with some of their performances, and I do feel it is a better version. Like it is a decent version, but I've always had certain issues with the way they go about their defensive recruitments in general and how they manage their squad. Like I know Slotterbeck has actually been good this season and whatnot,
Yeah,
but
it's been good. Yeah.
other than that, I'm not really a fan of how they set up per se. Sure, they can also have their moments like again, जैसे मैं बोला उन्होंने recently they had a big win over Freiburg, and
Yeah.
I can see their attack kind of also getting at Barca. I'm actually expecting ये game थोड़ा open ended लग रहा है मेरे को, like दोनों teams के end से. मतलब I can see a lot of end to end action in this game visually at least. But again,
But
like
over the two
Emirates,
legs, I think यार
हाँ.
परम एक लेग होता ना like a final होता तो I understand. But over two legs, थोड़ा
No, I'm
difficult लग रहा
backing Barca. Yeah, I'm backing Barca here because I just feel right now that high risk, high reward thing is working from them for them. How potent that attack is. Rafinha, crazy. Just Rafinha is in crazy form. मतलब मुझे कोई बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है.
Yeah, yeah,
लविन
yeah.
यमाल के बारे में भी मुझे कुछ अगेन ये सब लोगों के बारे में मेरे को बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है. लोगों को पता है ऑलरेडी. I think we all know. My point is Dortmund are relying on a very unconvincing backline here, which shows up on certain days and doesn't. Like they have an Emre Can, who for me should not be a starting centre back, even though he's doing okay right now. But in generally, in the grand scheme of things, he should not be the starting centre back. Then you have Ryerson in fullback position, who does well going forward, but defensively doesn't convince. Same for Bensebaini. So
Yeah.
like all these guys, even Waldemar, Anton, their other centre back, like their Anton is still fine, but generally he's the only one that really convinces me defensively. So my point is, I feel both these teams will have that high risk approach. I just find Barca a bit more convincing and well rounded, to be very simply to put it. But with
I
that being said, हाँ बोलो
I
बोलो sorry.
I feel like Benfica had a great shot to get Barca out. वो Silva का mistake नहीं होता, things
Yeah.
would have been very different. That red card changed the. And
Yeah.
again, as you said, again I feel Benfica is quite. And they don't get the plaudits. I think Benfica is a great team. I think they're still a decent team. They could have kind of kicked Barca out. I feel so. मैं तो ये बोलूँगा I thought Benfica had a better chance. So if Barca का है इतना high line है, you have to wait for them and take your chances. जो
To be fair,
बहुत हाँ
yeah, to be fair, also obviously Guirassy has been in great form in the
Yeah,
Champions League and in general. So वो definitely something Barca need to keep an eye on because जैसे आपने बोला on the break Dortmund are still pretty solid and वो Barca थोड़ा उधर शायद vulnerable हो सकती है. We've seen that. So Guirassy definitely have to keep an eye on. The second game, Chintan, what do you think PSG Aston Villa before we close this stream?
Oh, this PSG has taken a turn. You know, I watched the game. परम PSG Atletico मैंने देखा था. Oh God, it was proper Diego Simeone master class. मतलब they were bombarding Atletico का goal and randomly कोरिया जाके गोल मार के आ गया. मतलब that was a typical Diego Simeone. But yeah, Vitinha was परम. You talk about Barella,
My
it's very
God.
my
Yeah.
God, what a player Vitinha. Like I
Yeah.
think he's making PSG take. And Param, if you go to see PSG are kind of clicking right now. The superstars कोई है नहीं. They are looks like they're clicking. Dembele भी अच्छा खेल रहा है. I don't see Villa doing much over here. I think उन्होंने Liverpool को quite comfortably हरा दिया था and Liverpool at that time had lost only one league game in the season and they were unbeaten in the Champions League. Param. So I don't see PSG losing this game, losing the tie probably. तेरे को क्या लग रहा है?
इंटरेस्टिंग क्योंकि अजय भाई का मैं वीडियो देख रहा था. ही इज काइंड ऑफ backing Aston
Backing
Villa.
Aston Villa.
I am not backing Aston Villa. I think I'm backing PSG, but I just feel ये ना will be way closer than we think. I have
Yeah,
a
it might
feeling.
be. Might be, you're
I
right. But
yeah,
boss, बड़ा witty निकाला है. I love. तेरे को भी पता चल गया after seeing Barella.
fantastic.
I love
No,
such midfielders. ये जो क्या midfielder है यार.
no,
पूरा
Vitinha is making it look very easy whenever he plays. You see how he understands the space around him, Chintan Bhai, how he scans so quickly. He realizes how इसके आजू बाजू में उसके आजू बाजू में कौन है. He'll make the right stop. He'll his pass ka the weight of his passes, by the way, just
amazing.
underrated now. How not spoken about enough is how perfect the range and weight of his passes are.
Yeah,
लोग
yeah.
usually numbers देखते हैं इसके assist का, but just look at the weight of his pass. Even Joao Neves उसके साथ वो
No,
pairing
no, yes, yes.
perfect है. Exactly. So they finally
Boss.
found. हाँ.
And what about अपना Cavradona? Like, oh my God,
Oh
Liverpool
my
के
God.
सामने तो you're
Yeah.
terrorizing them. Huh?
He's exactly. So, Desire Doué, Usman Dembele, like William Pacho in defense. It's a bunch of players that suit Luis Enrique's style of play, Chintan, with the technical ability needed. Why do you think Skriniar, who at one point Chintan used to rate highly, has been booted out of there because वो घंटा उसके system में बैठता है Luis Enrique. Alvaro नहीं बैठता. You know Skriniar is not that kind of a player, and
Yeah.
anyways उसके injuries, whatever, that's a whole different story. Let me not get into that. But Chintan, also just to remind you, both teams are coming with 5 wins on the trot actually. Aston Villa भी 5 wins है. Obviously they beat Nottingham Forest recently, beat Brighton. PSG have also beaten Angers. They've sealed. They've actually won the league mathematically. They've already done it. They've won in
Yeah.
the Coupe de France. They've beaten Saint Etienne. So both teams are 5 wins
Coupe
on
de
the trot.
France तो boss, it was a comeback victory. हाँ भाई पीछे गए थे वो.
Against Dunkirk. And it
Dunk-
baffles me, Chintan, by every other cup competition is better than Coppa Italia. Finally, at least Coppa Italia is giving us a story this season. बट भाई चिंतन भाई ये सब कप कंपटीशन से अपने को सीखना पड़ेगा.
Yeah,
अपनी
man.
लीग
Same
को
old, वरना same old finalist, same old super
वही
कोपा होता है वही मुंह के साथ
एडवांटेज
होता
टू द बिगर क्लब्स. मतलब मेरे को आज तक नहीं समझा हाउ द बिगर क्लब्स गेट होम एडवांटेज. लाइक व्हाट bullshit that is. But yeah, Marquinhos is not available, by the way. He is suspended, so that is a big miss. I think Leon Bailey is out for Aston Villa.
है. Yeah.
And वही तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ दोनों के. अगर आप बेंच के भी बारे में जस्ट बिफोर वी क्लोज दिस बात करो, you have obviously the former man Asensio on Aston Villa's bench who can be useful, but apart from that, अगर आप PSG का bench देखो, you still have a Barcola if he does not start,
Barcola.
obviously. Yeah, Warren Zaire-Emery,
और
great talent. So Kangan Lee, yeah, and an informed Gonzalo Ramos, whose career was at some point was not going anywhere with PSG. So yeah, I expect this to be a very exciting and a close game. Yeah, would you predict Chintan over the two legs? Sorry, PSG.
yeah, I feel लिवरपूल के सामने जो एनफील्ड में देखा ना PSG को, I think they might do it. I don't. PSG were unlucky. लिवरपूल वो फर्स्ट लेग कैसे हार्वी एलियट गोल मार दिया, बट यू नो हाउ दे वर बैंगिंग इन द लिवरपूल साइड. कावरेशेलिया इतना मिस किया था, उसका गोल रूल आउट हुआ था. I don't see PSG losing, and I think Barca and PSG should win the full leg. I think they should qualify, and here I feel Inter should make it, and I think Arsenal should make it. These are my first semi-finalists.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think PSG will nick it over the two legs. I feel ये जो momentum बना रहे हैं after their terrible start to the season in the Champions League, I think they leak it. But you have to give credit to Aston Villa. Aston Villa have been solid throughout this competition. There's a reason why people are backing them, and I am not writing. And Emery in these competitions never write
cup competition. Yeah, Europa Cup king है वो यार.
वो यूरोपा लीग का राजा भी बन चुका है. हो भाई उसने जब वो VRL के साथ जो चैंपियंस लीग में किया था भाई, that was epic.
Yeah.
Like
exactly. And you can't rule him out. And plus, this is an Aston Villa. जो of course they have spent money, but it's a team made by him, so it's a good collection. I think they also beat Bayern, right? उन्होंने Bayern को हराया था I think this season, right?
Yeah, they did beat Bayern 1-0. So
yeah, they were actually unbeaten for a very long time in the Champions League also. They were man, great.
They were top of the table as well. So you have to definitely can't underestimate them. Yeah, Gladiator, मैं तो नहीं दूंगा percentage. I'll just watch the game, enjoy, and hope Inter goes through. Obviously, as you can understand.
I'll say 55-45 as of now for Inter.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. I know.
Probably सोच रही है one-sided है अभी. It's not that Bayern are Bayern after all. So I will never discount Bayern out.
So yeah, I am not. Anyone discounting Bayern would be crazy in my opinion. Sorry. Harsh says so, said this post Lille game only you remember, but we have been struggling since then. A Real Madrid fan. Yeah, you did say it. Fair enough. Chouameni is also injured. Kama was not that great with hopefully Seba back and Chouameni suspension, or we might do a little well. As for the comeback, we can only dream. Fair enough. Avinash Tech says Inter will beat Barca or Dortmund no matter who comes. Wow. I love that optimism. I hope that पहले बायर्न भाई पहले बायर्न बारसा डॉर्टमुंड दूर की बात है वो जब होता वो पहले बायर्न सेकंड लेग जिंक्स प्रोटेक्टर आई एग्री Madrid are not coming back now. Fair enough. Inter versus Prime Barca in UCL semi-final. I've seen the script. भाई पहले Bayern Munich is all I'll say. Dortmund last season's finalist. Last season's finalists, but they were terrible in the league. Adrish, they were really bad in the league last season. मतलब they were a bit fortunate in general. Well, they did their thing, but they were horrible in the league. Madrid is done and dusted. They're different in UCL. Dortmund are aparichit of European football. They don't even know themselves what team will show up. That is a very interesting. So yeah, I think Chintan we are done here. I think we have taken all the comments. I would love a PSG Inter finale, but God knows what will happen. Yeah, I think pretty much everybody is saying the same thing we discussed in them about PSG, praising them. Fabian Ruiz very good. Kvaratskhelia, of course. Sure, for Müller, Bayern should play their heart out to deliver him his last gem for Bayern career in our home. I hope not, but of course, as a Bayern fan, I can understand your sentiment.
Yeah,
To be a fair, yeah, to be a fair, UECL is better competition for teams like Chelsea. Trolling के लिए maybe Morgan Roger must. Yeah, this is a good shout, Chintan bhai. Being a Premier League watcher, you will also agree.
yeah.
Morgan Rogers must watch same level as Desire do. Same level. Oof.
Same
Interesting,
level,
but
huh?
yet, yeah, interesting. But he's definitely been good. Luis has smacked Emery 6-1. I know who is winning. Emery has the best winning percentage in European competitions among managers left. Had a fun time. See you guys. Yeah, we are also closing the stream, Harsh. Thank you for joining it. Chintan, anything you want to say to close? Anything you want to say?
Bas abhi, I think it was a great reminder call for everyone that Serie A is not dead, but I'll still stick by it. Unfortunately, Serie A ke almost every team are Europa League levels. Unfortunately, that Milan also comes in that category. But when you have one team doing well, that team should go deep, and Inter are exactly on the right track. And I'm just very happy. Of course, it's very difficult for me to praise Inter a lot, but all I can say is very happy to see that the world is seeing Barella perform,
Yeah.
and the world will finally appreciate that what a complete midfielder he is. And again, same thing. I'll never discount any जो big European royalties होती है. They know how to perform on big stages. So again, Inter does have a slight advantage, but I will never count Inter Bayern out. So great night
And
actually for Arsenal also. So I would feel overall you might सब लोग एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे बायर्न जीतेगा, इंटर जीत गया, आर्सेनल हारेगा, आर्सेनल जीत गया. सो लेट्स होप दैट दे कीप गिविंग अस these gems, यार. And
fair
of course,
enough.
let's not forget, boss. Let's hope Lazio and Fiorentina also go very deep
Exactly.
in their own respective. यार, I don't know, Lazio का मेरे को अभी थोड़ा फॉर्म हिलक डुलक लग रहा है. I think Lazio are
Yeah,
kind of now.
that fatigue is catching up with the squad not being as deep. वो दिख रहा है ना अभी
Yeah.
चिंतन में थोड़ा वो लोग में
Just
obviously.
Rovella, I hope Rovella pulls up his socks because he's also been a little off, I feel, Guendouzi. So I feel too early to say. I just hope they go Randall as deep as they can. I think, to be very honest, Europa League is probably the most in limbo. कौन जीतेगा किसी को पता नहीं. कोई भी जीत सकता है वो. Even Manchester United.
Hmm, fair enough, fair enough. Like and share, subscribe, guys. Again to Calcio Church and Ajay Bhai's channel. Again, support both if you can. He says Forza Inter Adrish. I think I've taken all comments, guys. I'll agree with Chintan Bhai. I think Chintan Bhai ne always summed up the whole thing very well. All I can say is I hope Inter kind of goes through against Bayern, not just kind of goes through against Bayern, of course, and we somehow continue our dream to potentially win the Champions League. Not getting too ahead of myself, but yeah, hopefully looking forward to the tie next week. Yeah, मतलब I don't know watch along वो सब तो नहीं होगा because late night kickoff Chetan bhai, but we'll definitely try to do a preview. We'll definitely try to do a regular stream either tomorrow or day after. So keep an eye. Or yeah, all I can say is Forza Inter from my end, and we progressed. And yeah, we'll see you guys the next time. Please do like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, I enjoy your Champions League night tonight. मतलब बड़े games देख लो, मजे करो. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.